push the button.
I did
push the button. You did push the button.
Yes. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 608 of Moretti Python Radio. Check out this one. This is going to be a good one. It's not often you get to have a conversation with someone that understands the work it takes to do this. Not many people understand.
On a whole different level. On a different level. It's not just a guest. It's a guest that deals with the same stuff you do. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. If we're called the OGs, I think this next guest is the future of reptile podcasting.
We can retire now.
I've been very impressed with how what's that?
We can retire now. We're good. We can just kind of not yet.
Not yet. You better slow down. Yeah. But we've been on his show, both of us, and Singer.
You have been on just you, and then you were on with me, and then
you are the co-host though, and I mean,
it wounds me, but it is true.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I
admit it. It's fine. It's whatever.
But we're happy to have with us today the one and only MJ from the Trap Talk Network. What's up, man?
What's going on, dude?
What's up, boys? It's a complete honor to be here, dude. Honestly, it's surreal. I don't think I deserve to be here, but I'm here. I'm
That's all good, man.
You're crushing it with the various cages that are going on behind you, and then your network and all that other stuff. So you can come play in the sandbox. So
all right. Sweet, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. So I guess we always kind of start and honestly, I've never heard how you got into reptiles. So how did that happen?
Yeah, I have that typical story of it being a part of my childhood for as long as I can remember. Doing the whole finding lizards outside, but what kind of really sparked my love at a very young age was I have an uncle that's no longer with us no more, but his name was Uncle Lloydie. He lived in Pennsylvania, in the outskirts of Ephrata, and he had an exotic animal farm. And so on the front part of the property, he had about 20 ostriches. And then he had some other crazy mammals. Like, you go on his property, you see all the ostriches, and then you see, he had a couple gnarly freaking Rottweilers that kind of protected the property. And then as you go onto the property, there's multiple houses, and when you keep regular farm animals, there's that smell, right? There's that like you're just like, wow, there's animals here, Yeah, he had all these cages, and so at a young age, all you could do is just want to get out of the car and go run everywhere, right? So that's exactly what I did, dude. And you would think, as long as I remember, I think I was 6 years old, is the first time I can remember like them letting me just go do my thing, like no supervision. And so I ran the property, and I remember seeing some sketchy stuff, dude. Like he had mountain lions, he had bears. He had he had these gnarly, he had apex birds, you know what I mean? Like really insane looking birds. And I'll never forget just seeing dead chicks like everywhere, like
food,
the remaining of the prey's eating them and whatnot. So and then eventually I made it into one of their houses. So he had multiple houses on the property. He had the main house where he lived in, and then he had other houses. And one house in particular housed a bunch of different reptiles. And so I walk into that house. I can just remember like it was yesterday. Probably one of the eerie, like scariest feelings, because you don't know what the hell's in any of these rooms. Every door you open, there was a chain link fence. And so you would open a door, there's a chain link fence, and there was clearly some sort of animal in there. And I remember him. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it wasn't Komodo, but he had a huge monitor. I don't remember what kind of monitor it was, but there'd be times where he'd have pieces of deer that he would feed off. Like he'd come in to step back, open up the chain link fence. And it was like crazy because the monitors would just go crazy over the food. Yeah. And then he had an anaconda that basically could eat a human, like it was humongous. And then he had another room that was like very secure. But I made my way in there, and it was pitch dark, and all you hear is rattling. Wow, what's in here? And of course, I was a pretty advanced 6-year-old as far as like I could find my way around, and like I would look for a light switch, right? And so I remember finding the light switch, and all I see are these glass cages filled with fucking snakes, and they were all venomous. They were all fucking venomous, dude. He had cobras. He had everything. Had everything. Then he had a couple of huge tubs, like bathtubs that were full of dwarf caimans. So he had dwarf caimans swimming in some of them. I'll never forget looking at the screen top, and I was like, just fucking blown away, dude. And so I knew right then and there, I'm like, dude, not too many 6-year-olds are roam willy-nilly around properties and look at this. And so from 6 to about 14, 15 years old, I flew over there every summer. And of course, saw all my family. All my mom's family's from Pennsylvania. So, and I have amazing family members over there. I love all my aunts and stuff like that. So I'd make my rounds, but then my favorite place was my Uncle Lloydie's. I could just never stay the night there. My Uncle Lloydie, my mom used to call him a hippie, and he had you could totally tell he looked like Jerry Garcia. Like he had crazy gray hair, a gray beard. He definitely looked high every single time I was then he had like a bus, like an old school bus that was like you could feel like somebody was living in it at a certain point. So like my mom would yell at me, "Get away from the bus!" And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's where they were all smoking meth or something. I don't know, dude. And so my mom would always say, "You're never staying the night here. You could spend all day here, but as soon as that sun goes down, you're out." Yeah. So I really only would get like one full day there. And as I was getting older, my uncle would get more comfortable telling me to do shit. Like, all right, today you're gonna go clean this, and that's when it stopped becoming fun.
Yeah,
he's having me shovel like fucking ostrich shit out of a barn, and it was like hard as rock. And I'm like, what the? And I'm sitting there for like. And I'll be doing it for 10 minutes. I'll throw the shovel down and say, fuck this. Like, and I just wouldn't work because he wasn't paying me. He would just no. So he would just tell me to work. And eventually, like, I stopped seeing him. And I'm like, well, this is stupid. I'm going to put the shovel down and I'm going to go roam. And so that was like what sparked my interest with animals in general. Like, I loved being that close and personal with animals. And it was something where I feared it, but I like the fear. Like, I like, the danger kind of got me worked up. And I had a couple of close calls, dude. And, I'm going to tell you right now, I could definitely like remember thinking like, damn, I think my uncle's a bad keeper. Cause I think that thing's dead right there, but whatever, and it's tough to say, but this is the 90s. And so it's like, all right. And so, obviously that led into me begging my dad for a snake, which my mom never wanted me to have a snake in the house. She was like super like anti-snakes. And then my dad, being my dad, went against her, and fucking, one of the best Christmases I ever had was him walking down the stairs with the ball python that I really wanted at a pet shop. And of course it was like, my mom's full-blood Italian. So she's super fucking vocal. And when she says no, she says no. It's kind of like, and then she makes you feel terrible after she says no. It's like, oh my God. And so my dad just doing that anyways, it was, I didn't see it coming. But that's when I realized I'm like, I am so obsessed. And so, it all started with a ball python when I was 6 years old. And then I ended up getting an iguana. And so I wanted so many reptiles. And that's, I already knew like what kind of feat that was going to be with my mom. And, kind of went into my 20s. I got a boa constrictor, and what's crazy is like, I got this boa that I had no idea how big it was going to get. And it ended up getting pretty big. And it was a female. And then I'll never forget moving to a place where I went to high school with my neighbor, and he had a male boa, and he was like, "Hey dude, let's breed them." And I'm like, okay. Like, so, and he had a huge enclosure, and I didn't have that big of an enclosure. I really didn't. I had it like almost in a tank. And so he had this really decked out enclosure, and he was like, "All right, bring her over. We'll put them together." I'm like, fuck yeah. And so I'll never forget, like, it's kind of messed up because I was in a place in my life where I had no time for pets. I knew feeding this thing was like always like, oh, God damn, I have to go get a rabbit or something like that. And so I'll never forget when he took the animal. They never did anything, by the way, but they would just be together. And when I found out I had to move, I never told him. I just left. I was just kind of I just dipped out. And then, he finally hits me up like, "Hey, are you ever going to pick up your snake?" And I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." And he's like, "Whatever, dude." And he was kind of mad, but I was like, "Dude, I can't. I'm in an apartment now. Like, I can't. I just can't." He's like, I just told him, I was like, "Dude, it's better with you than with me." And then he was cool with it after a while. And, kind of to speed things up, I started. Okay, so then I went through the rest of my 20s. So I think I was like 25 or 26 when I didn't have that boa. So for a good handful of years, I had no reptiles. I was just heavy into DJing, and I was traveling a lot and doing a lot of gigs, and I had this huge dream about being this big DJ. And so the thing is, I didn't do the work. Like, I didn't make music. Like, I didn't go to studios and actually produce music myself. I learned how to, but it was just so much. I much rather do gigs and party. That was my thing. Like,
right.
I want to feel like the rock star, and I just want to fucking party for free. And that's what DJing did for me. I literally got, get booked at clubs where I didn't pay for alcohol. The drugs were free. And then I eventually started selling drugs, and because it got that crazy. And so then I was becoming more fascinated with selling drugs than actually being a DJ. And that's when my life started declining. Because I was a terrible drug dealer. They say don't get high on all. Don't get high on your
own. Don't use your own product. Yeah,
I got high on all my supply. Like, I was fucking terrible. Like, I would owe people, and like it got pretty bad. And so,
oh shit.
Yeah, once I realized my life was just like in a position where I fucking literally hated it. Like, I hated who I was becoming. The girlfriends I had were the most toxic fucking women ever. Like, they would hit me. I would have to call my sisters to come beat their ass. Like, it was crazy. It was just nothing I didn't want to, like. I could just see myself like, dude, I can't keep going like that.
Right.
There was, but like, I had good friends. Like, I had friends that were a lot more adults than I were. And they always tried to take care of me. They tried their best. And so I'll never forget when it happened. So I had a huge gig in Mexico. It was my buddy's birthday. He had paid for the flights, the hotel, and literally the week that we were supposed to go, I think I was coming off a rager weekend, and I don't know what was going on, but I had this crazy thing where I'm like, I'm done. Like, I was like, I don't want to be around these people anymore. I don't want to be around party no more. Like, I need something to get me the fuck out of here. And I thought, like, what do I miss? Like, what do I need? And I thought about ball pythons. I was like, dude, I need to get a snake again. Like, I need to just I need some other focus. And so I'll never forget. And I had, at that time, like, if I wasn't doing any kind of drug transaction, I didn't have any money. Like, drugs is what brought me money. You know what I mean? But then it also made me broke at the same time. It was weird cycle that I was in. And so I was finally done. I told myself, I went on Craigslist. I found a ball python. And I remember there was all these names, like it was Mojave Pastel Orange Ghost. And I didn't know what the fuck any of that was. I just wanted that yellow looking ball python for $75. And so I ended up like hitting the guy up. He's like, yeah, come over to my house. And he told me where he lived. And I'm like, oh my God, you're in a trailer park? I'm like, fuck, okay, whatever. So I go to this trailer park, and it's like a grown-ass man who still lives with his mom. It was about 4:00 in the afternoon, and he's in his pajamas still. And he just looks like a slob. And he's like, hey, come inside. I'm just like, okay. And
all right.
And he had tanks and stuff like that. And most of them were empty. And he had like this really depressed look on his face. He's like, all right, man, here's a snake. And I hope you know you're getting this for really cheap. And I'm like, okay. I was like, just give me the snake, dude. Like, yeah. He's like, just, this, if you want to breed it, it's a pastel Mojave Orange Ghost. And I'm like, all right, cool. And so I just remembered what he said. And as soon as I got home, I Googled it. I Googled a pastel Mojave Orange Ghost. Yeah. And then I fucking was opened up to the whole world of ball pythons. And this is 2015. So 2015 is when I found out there was an actual hobby of motherfuckers breeding reptiles out there. And I was just so like, it's exactly what I needed, because my obsession with being a DJ all of a sudden flipped about just keeping snakes. And so
nice.
Yeah, it was just like that, bro. And what really kind of ignited it all was just kind of going crazy with Barczyk's videos. Like, that's like Googling the morphs is what made me find Brian Barczyk's YouTube videos. And by then, 2015, he already had like 6-7 years of content. So
yeah.
And Snake Bites TV, and I'll never forget seeing racks for the first time, like where how he used to stand in the middle of all his racks, and you're just like, and when you never seen that before, like not even at my uncle's place, like he had stuff like this, but not racks. Like I never saw tubs at his house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's when I was like so just a kid again, dude. And so it brought some sort of excitement inside of me where, I ended up getting another ball python on Craigslist, and then another one on Craigslist. And next, I have 4 ball pythons in my closet, all in tanks lined up. Okay. And that's all I knew. And I would feed them in a fucking box. Like I remember, like I
had to pull them out of the yeah.
I fed them how we were taught in the 90s how to feed the ball python.
All that bullshit.
Yeah. And so, anyway, so that's kind of what ignited it all. And then I met my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, Lily, who she's always had a boyfriend that had some sort of reptile for whatever reason. So she wasn't like, she thought I was like, oh, cool, you have snakes? That's cool. And I was like, yeah. And so I'll never forget one night we were watching some bullshit show that she likes to watch. I don't know what it was. And so I'm sitting there on my phone, scrolling through Craigslist, looking at snakes again. And I was looking at pieds, right? And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, look at this pied. And she's like, why don't you buy it? I'm like, it's $400. Like, I don't, what the hell? Like, I was like, I don't have that kind of money. She's like, yeah, but like, you should set a goal to like want to get it. Like, and she was like teaching me like, yo, like just because you can't afford it now, like work up for it. And I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. So, a few months goes by and she ended up fucking buying me a pied ball python. She bought me the pied.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, this is epic. I'm going to breed this all the other shit I have. I had no clue about recessive, no clue about I was like, cool. So I have this, I remember had an albino. I was like, so I could put this yellow snake to this pied snake and I can make yellow pieds. And, I thought all this crazy shit. And then I started seeing videos, tutorials out there, like, how to make pieds from normals. And then it was like, yeah, it takes 5-6 years. And I'm like, whoa, what? You breed one normal to one normal, and then you're going to get a visual pied. Then you grow that up, and then you breed that back to the mom or dad or whatever. And I'm like, dude, that's going to take forever. And that's when I was like, wait a minute. So these don't go together. Like, that's when I kind of, at that point, I had already a rack that I was in my class. So I went from tanks to a rack, and I still have that rack. It was an Animal Plastics PVC rack, which I'll never forget. It had 8 slots, and I only had 4 snakes. So what do you have to do with the other 4 tubs? You gotta fill them. Yeah. And so I didn't care what it was going. I just want to pull it open and hear that sliding sound and see it, And so my obsession was like, let me get as many snakes as I could possibly get. And I did that to the point where I got up to about 30-ish ball pythons, which none of them made sense. Like, if you wanted to breed, none of them went together. and so, and it took me meeting people. Like, I'll never forget, I ended up figuring out, like, well, if I want to get this snake, how about I sell this one, get the money from that one, and then there you go. And so
plug and play.
And I ended up, I guess, apparently I ended up coming up on some really good snakes that other people wanted. And I remember one guy came all the way down from Bakersfield, which is about 4 hours away from me, but he drove all the way down and he saw the snakes I had. And he was like telling me like, yeah, like, this is cool. You could do this with that. And I'm like, just like a sponge. And, I'll never forget, I found out where highways were. And I'm like, he's like, I think this is a gravel. And I'm like, well, what the fuck's a gravel? He's like, well, you need gravels to make highways. And he's like, you have a yellow belly too. So if you put these together, you can make highways. He's like, and if you get another gravel, you can make super gravels. And I'm like, all right, slow down.
What the hell's a super gravel?
Yeah, I was like, whoa, hold on. And so then I looked at what a gravel was going for, and it was like $800 then. And I'm like, I have an $800 snake. And I'll never forget. I was like, this is insane. And by the way, I never found out if it was really gravel. I'm sorry. Since he told me he thought I might have had one, I said, okay, I do have one. And so 4 years later, I found out it wasn't a gravel. But anyways, so again, that's kind of what sparked everything into like me finding out other species. So, I mean, after ball pythons, it was chondros. So then, from me looking at ball pythons, I was looking up chondros, and, and the prices were, kind of skyrocketed a little bit, I remember looking up Bill Stiegel's photo and looking at the sickness.
Yeah, I'd done it. Yeah, that would do it.
And I tell this story all the time. That's exactly what did it. Looking at that picture of the sickness by the flowers, it was an iconic photo of Bill's. And I was just like, what? Like, you got to be shitting me. Like, I couldn't believe it. And then, and this is before I even knew how much they were. I was like, I already knew just by looking at that snake, that is going to be way more than I could ever afford. I was like, there's other stuff. And so I would find the Underground Reptiles. What a fucking place that is, right? So I found Underground had a bunch of stuff to look at, and it was like, a couple hundred, few hundred. And I was like, okay, like this is, and I, as much as I shit on yellow neonates now, I was obsessed with the yellow neonates then. Like that was yellow. Like if you if you don't know what's going on with this world, yellow's always more appealing. Like yellow's always gonna.
Oh yeah.
So I'll never forget finding a yellow neonate chondro on Craigslist that came from underground apparently.
Oh my God.
So, and it was in Exoterra, and it had the fake bamboo perches that you could buy from ZooMed or whatever you could buy from. It was just a standard, like, here you go. If you want everything, it was $400. And I was like, wow. So of course I ran to my girlfriend at the, Lily at the time. I'm like, dude, Christmas is coming up. I was like, I got half of this. Can you cover that? She's like, yeah. I was like, that's what you want for Christmas? Sure. I'm like, dude, yes. And so we ended up going to Los Angeles, which is 2 hours away, meeting the guy, got the snake, and it was like another rebirth of like buying my first ball python again. Like I was just driving home, just staring at it, and it's fucking snapping at me, and I'm just like, oh my God. And I'm like, but I love it. Like I love everything about it. And so this is about 2016 when I got my first chondro. And and then I will say that once I started putting my animals on Instagram, because Instagram back then, for me at least, it was all music, all DJ. I only followed my other DJ friends, and I was private. Like I was a pretty private individual back then. And so I'll never forget seeing Ball Pythons 101, like the Instagram handle. And so I started following him, and he followed me back. And so I'll never forget putting my very first photo of my pied, and he messaged me. He's like, hey, that's a cool snake, dude. He's like, if you take your account off private, more people will be able to see it. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I'll never forget, I had one like. And so I was like, fuck you guys, dude. And I'll never forget seeing his page, and he had hundreds of likes. And I'm like, dude, this many of my people don't like snakes? And I'm like, well, yeah, dude, you only have fucking at 100 followers then. And they were just all like local friends. And so as soon as I figured out to unprivate my Instagram and to use hashtags, then everything started fun. Like, because now my algorithm was showing me other snake people, and that's, dude, it just took off from there, bro. So that's that's my my long story as far as like how I got introduced into the hobby. That guy Chris Cercery from Ball Pythons 101, he became my very first like friend in the reptile game, and like giving me tips and advice and showing me cinnamon, GHI, and like all this stuff that I was just like, I couldn't believe that was what ball pythons were. And then the same way I met that guy, Chris, I met Forrest Fanning. And when I met Forrest, that's when my whole world opened up when I met Forrest. Mainly because I followed Forrest for about a year. I never thought the guy would ever want to be friend. I just thought like, and mind you too, when you're coming into the world that especially when you always love reptiles and you get introduced to this world, I was looking at these people like WWF superstars, dude. Like, I thought they were like, I thought they were like godly. Like I was like, like Barcheck. I never thought I'd ever get to meet him, and I looked at him like Hulk Hogan. Fucking Forrest was like an ultimate warrior to me. It was just like all I could do is just dream about being cool with these people someday. And it just turns out like reptile people are fucking normal, cool fucking people for the most part. And so, and then Forrest and we clicked right away. He loved my passion. He was like, he liked how fired up I would get. And we would have long hour conversations where, as you could tell, I like to talk. Like I'm a big talker, right?
The whole point of this stuff.
Talking was always something where like I would always talk when I shouldn't be talking. Like, there's times where you should shut the fuck up, right?
Yeah.
And it clicked with Forrest, like, dude, you don't need to talk right now. Just listen to this guy. And so I listened so much to Forrest, dude. Like he would go on tangents about topics and like, use a lot of scientific terms that I was just like, the fuck. And I just, okay, keep going. You know what I mean? And that happened for a good year until I got invited to do my first podcast. Some ball python podcast. I forget the name of it, but they invited me on. I was all excited. And then right before we went live, they're like, hey, by the way, you can't cuss. You're not allowed to drink alcohol, no smoking. And I'm just like, what? Like, I was like, I'll try. Like
losers.
I mean, I really can't. I can't really control. But sure,
the drinking and smoking is whatever. But the cussing, like
I don't know what to do with that. Like
F-word every 3 words I say. Like it's like, damn. And so, but it was kind of like, it was a fun time because it was cool to get that. But then in my head, I'm like, why can't adults just be adults? Like I was like. And mind you, I had no idea what MPR was, nothing else. I'm still wet behind the ears still. So I went to Forrest right after that podcast, and I'm like, dude, we need to start a podcast because people are scared to be themselves. Like I don't see anyone fucking cussing. I don't see anyone like wanting to be and talk like freely.
Right.
He's like, yeah, I don't know, man. He's like, I have to be careful. And that's what Forrest's thing was like. I have to like, I can't say any of that shit. He's like, but you can. I was like, oh. he's like, dude, he's like, I have an idea. We could bring very controversial topics that you could just say how you want to say off of it. And I'll kind of like live through you and, you know, and be there. And I'm like, perfect. So you're the one with the brains and I'm the loudmouth who's just going to fucking be unfiltered and just say what I want. And so that was the dynamic. And so we named it Unfiltered Reptiles Podcast.
Yep.
And that's how the very first podcast ever was started with me and Forrest. And he knew all the people to bring on. That was another thing. I'm like, dude, you know all these people, bro. Like, you know, Ed Marino, you know, fucking like Keith McPete, like, you know, all these people that I'm so scared to even go approach. Like, I don't. He's grown ass men, and I'm literally just this nobody. Like and I always like read the room like that. I'm like, dude, I'm a fucking nobody, and I'm good. But then again, Forrest gave me the confidence, and he was bringing the people. Like he would say, all right, this is who we're gonna have this week, and dude, we fucking hit it hard, man. And I was so just tapped into doing it, and I was so inspired, and it was cool to have Forrest, you know, because Forrest was, you know, he was everything to me, man. Like he was a special dude, man. And you know, a lot of it had to do with our conversations we had over the phone. Because like I said, I'm not used to not talking that much because I'm a very confident person. I feel like I pick up things right away where I become a know-it-all. But in the reptile world, I felt like, dude, you don't know shit. Like, and it was the kind of thing I needed. Like, I need things in life to keep me humble. Otherwise, my head will just blow up, and I take off like a blimp. And so, it was kind of awesome to feel brand new and feel like, oh, and it's okay to be brand new. That's another thing about the reptile world. It's okay not to know anything because all of us kind of don't know anything. It's like we're all learning, and that's a thing about today, man. Even though I'm 10 years into it, I still don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I talked to Ryan Young, and he feels the exact same way. Like, you would think Ryan Young would be the cockiest motherfucker on earth. He's not.
After a certain point, dude. Like, you know, it's...
he shrugs his shoulders. He goes, I don't know. Like, he just, like, that's just his attitude. And so I love how I've always felt that with even the people I look up to. Like, they're still like, I don't know, man. Like, this is what we're trying to figure out. And so... yeah, dude, as you guys know, man, the second best thing about the hobby other than the reptiles are the people. And, you know, when Forrest passed away, I felt like a lot of people came to me, like a lot of people like, hey, MJ, like I was Forrest's good friend. And then I would know their name. Like, dude, I know who you are. He would talk about you. Like one person that stands out big time is Dave Levison. Like what a character, dude. And so Dave, I'll never forget seeing Dave at a reptile show. I was like, I didn't want to come within 10 feet of him. Like I thought like, dude, that guy is weird. Like I was, he had the thick mustache and like he had his eyes like this all the time, and it just like you're just like, dude, like what's going on with him? And Forrest was like, oh, that's Dave. Like, that's one of my best friends, and I'm like, dude, that guy is interesting. And it was somebody where it was like I was just kind of I was unsure about Dave. Like I had no clue what his like demeanor was. He was very unreadable, like super unreadable. And then before Forrest died, Forrest's last podcast was with me, Stephen Cush, and Dave Levison, where Dave did it from the parking lot in Walmart, and he was using their Wi-Fi.
Oh my God.
And it was, dude, to this day, it's the funny, like I'm laughing the entire time. Like the whole time, I'm just busting up laughing because the way he's looking at the screen, the way he was talking, like it was just so interesting to me. And so anyways, Dave, when Forrest passed away, I felt like I wanted to be so close to Dave because, you know, Forrest always had nothing but good things to say about Dave. Yeah. And I'll never forget, it took us a long time to get Dave on the show finally. And after that, when Forrest died, that's when I did the podcasting really, really hard. Like I was finding sponsors. I was having them fly me to places. And then I kept running into Dave. And then finally I was like, Dave, like, let's do a podcast together, man. Like, dude, I miss Forrest, man, but he had nothing but amazing things to say about you. You guys want to know another funny story about Dave? Go. So I was so just a groupie at that time to want to hang out with Dave, where it was my very first Arlington show, right? Okay. And, you know, drinks were flowing. I'm pretty hammered. He's hammered. We're at the bar, and I knew Dave smoked. And so I always traveled with my own weed. And so I had a jar of some really good, expensive weed, and it was a pretty good sized jar. And so I'm like, oh, this is my moment. So I'm like, hey, I was like, hey, Dave, check this out. So I put it on the table and I slide it to him, and it slides, and he gets it, opens it up, smells it. He goes, good. Puts the top on and puts it in his pocket. And I'm like,
shit. Wait.
I was like, cool, man. What? See you later. And I walked away scratching my head. I'm like, God damn it. That's all the weed I have. And I was like, I still got one more day here. And I'm like, God damn it. And I was like, you know what? That was probably a good move, dude. I was like, you know what? I think that was a good, like, present.
Yeah.
Like, can you be my friend, please?
Right. Right.
And so I would do the exact same thing. I'd just be like, all right, well, thanks, and I just walk away.
I was like, I was gonna quit anyways.
It's fine. Take it.
That's
for you. Yes, of course.
Yes.
Oh my God, dude. So yeah, that was that. And then, as more shows happened, we had that. I told him that story like the next time. I'm like, hey, by the way, I didn't mean to give you all that weed, but I told him I'm happy you took it. Like he's like, oh really, buddy? I was like, he's like, I'm sorry, I thought you were giving it to me, and I'm like, nah, yeah, but it's all good. And so we laughed at that, and then that's kind of what brought us, like, we just always were homies after that.
I love that.
Nice.
That's a good one.
Dave, like I said, I have nothing but great things to say about Dave. He was like me. I was able to kind of cope with Forrest's death, becoming friends with Dave, because Dave lost Ben Rennick, which was one of his best friends. Yeah, and so Dave and I started talking over the phone, and like he kind of would vent to me on what he went through, and like, and why he had to move to Missouri and like take over the operation, and like, and I was like, damn, you do all that? I was like, wait a minute, you're doing all this and you're an employee? Like, you don't own any of this stuff? He's like, no, I just work here. And I'm like, fuck, I felt so bad for him, because he was like, the guy was like drowning. Like, he was just doing so much over there. And then as time was going along, I'm like, Dave, you need to get the fuck out of there, dude. Like, there's nothing good for you there. And then, it lined up in his favor, where he was able to, I think it's been a few years now, 2 or 3 years since he left, has his own thing that he's doing really well now. I think he has 700 eggs of random shit that he's incubating right now. He's
holy shit,
9 Woma clutches, I want to say, and fucking some other crazy shit. He's doing this insane shit right now. So
wow.
Like, that's
couldn't be more proud of him. And again, dude, that's one thing that fires me up other than the animals is the people, dude. Like, even being friends with you guys, because you understand, like, when Forrest passed away, I did get cocky. Like, I was like, well, Trap Talk's the only fucking podcast out there that people like. And then Stephen Cush, I'll never forget. I was so mad at Stephen Cush, because after I found out about your show, and I had no idea who you guys were, but you guys were instant fucking competitors to me. So I was like, fuck these guys. I don't even want to listen to I don't even want to listen to an episode. Like, and then I realized, like, oh shit, like, these guys, they're the real deal. Like, they're the ones bringing people on who know what the fuck they're talking about. And it's not about just being a fucking loudmouth. Like, these guys it's knowledge and educational. It was very educational. And so I'll never forget Steven being so happy you guys invited him on. And that was the first episode I ever listened to, was when you brought Steven on. But that's when my first time I ever got pissed off at Steven, because he never once mentioned Unfiltered Reptiles podcast.
Oh, well, the plug where he's like, come on, dude.
Because I brought Steve. Like, here's the thing. Forrest didn't really want, like, I'm not gonna say he didn't want Steven, but he was like a little kid, like, and then for the first 6 episodes, Steven just sat there with his arms crossed and never said a word. But as soon as Steven started getting the balls to speak and being a part of it, I thought, okay, cool, dude, you're a part of this now. So I expected him to kind of be the one to, like, maybe connect all of us. All I wanted was somebody to say something to you guys, for you guys to notice me. And so, and when I realized he didn't say a fucking word, dude, you did not mention Unfiltered once. Like, we do episodes every week. And so I was in my feelings, but I understood how important it was for Steven. Like, it was a big deal to Steven too. And, Steven's a shy, I mean, he's a lot more outgoing now, but he was super shy then, like super timid. And, he's very careful with his words. And I was very controversial then, like way more than I am now. Like, I was very bad then. And so he was almost embarrassed to be my friend then. You know what I mean? I don't blame him. Like, I don't blame him at all. Like, I was somebody who had some fucked up issues back then. And so, but anyways, that's kind of when I was I didn't show it, but I was super fucking like I respected everything you guys did. Like I started like, I found out who Justin Julander was and like the Fight Club. Like that was when I saw you guys had the Fight Club series. I'm like, dude, this is sick. Like regardless of, whatever you're trying to be, you can't discredit what the fuck they're doing. But then I looked at it, I was like, all right, these guys are setting the example in my book. So I was like, someday, I told myself someday I'll be at their level. You know what I mean? And so, but then more importantly, what I ever wanted was to be friends with you guys because how much I loved what you guys were doing. And so, again, that's why I laugh about the Daytona thing because I was such a dick to Owen about
No, but I love because that's almost like our jar kind of thing where it's like
it's crazy.
That's like connected it with that because I'm like, and I swear to God, I think Bill set it up that you were like Bill set us up for something like that because he's like, no, sit here after you told him, dude, that's my seat. Don't let anybody sit there.
Right.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was also something where I was like, dude, stop being such a dick because that's Owen. Like you're trying to be cool with this dude, man. Like, so it's like, and that's when that's when I was like, oh, my bad, dude. I fucking you. I'm so sorry. And then there was a time I thought Eric Owen was one name.
One And then you and I were laughing at it, but I'm like,
wait, there's dude, two of them?
No, I'm like, dude, thank God you said that because you're the only one who hasn't asked me today where the hell Eric is. And that's because you thought it was one dude and it's perfect.
Everybody, when they would bring you up, it would be Eric Owen. And I know. And then, people say Keith McPee, Ari Flagg. Everyone uses their first and last name for whatever reason. So I thought Eric Owen was the last name for whatever reason. So I thought for like 3 years, Eric Owen was one person. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So anyways, so that's kind of where everything's at now, dude. And again, dude, it's a huge deal for me to be on this show because how far back I go. Look, when you guys came across my world, and again, like it's a surreal feeling. And again, and I just always respected your guys' catalog to where the people you guys brought on have dedicated decades to their life to this shit, and I'm just barely a decade in, but not to the level of like Keith or something like that. You know what I mean? I want to I'm here for the long run, but I always felt like, dude, you have so much to go before you could ever hit an NPR episode. But here we are, dude. And it's like, mom, I'm on NPR. Like, it's pretty awesome. So I love it, dude. I'm super stoked. And this is all this stuff energizes why I do this, dude. It's like a second win over and over and over again.
And I feel like needed though, because there are a couple of people that I know that have been actually getting out of the hobby recently because of economy shit, death of animals and stuff like that. So they're bailing, and I'm like, I think you need this kind of stuff to recharge you because we all have those same problems, and we're all still in it for the long haul for it.
Yeah, when I listen to Unfiltered podcast, I met Forrest a couple times at shows and stuff.
Yep.
And I remember the one time he came up, we were vending at Tinley, and he came up and he's like, Eric, what do I have to do to be a sponsor of NPR? And I look over at Rob Stone and I was like, did he just ask to be a sponsor of NPR? Like, what the holy shit, dude? I'm like, oh my God, what do I say? But at the time I was like, kind of like, I don't know, stupidly was like, I didn't want to have sponsors because I just felt it would change us. I guess. And it's kind of like, because like, I feel like we don't have anything that's going to restrict what we're going to say. Not that having sponsors does, but like, I don't know. It's kind of like when I first started watching YouTube, you would have certain hosts and stuff that would say like, we don't take sponsorships and we, so we're going to give you the honest thing. So it kind of like stuck in my brain, and it's kind of stupid in a way because I could be making money at it and I'm not,
I mean, but, I would have sold purple mattresses in MeUndies episode 1, but Eric wouldn't let me do it. So yeah. I tried. I tried so hard.
Somehow, I don't know how I got to listening to your show again. But then I've told you a couple times, like in messages, I was like, dude, that was like inspirational. Like it just gave me like a feeling of like, damn, like, I don't know, maybe it was the passion. I don't know what it was, but I think you were talking about ball pythons too. And it was just like, oh man, I like where this guy's coming from. And it all had to do with about, you got to put the work in to get the results, right? You got to put the work in to get the results. And I'm like, yeah, this guy gets it. You know what I mean? Like, he understands that the fucking grind you have to do in order to make this shit happen, and guest and research and know what you're going to talk about and all this stuff. And, and back then the learning curve to even just have a podcast was like, how do you do it? Like, what do you do?
My first couple of years of doing Trap Talk was rough, man. Like I had connection issues, and I would still, like, even though my audio was fucked up, I would still just, because it was live, this is it. You know what I mean?
Keep going.
And like there's episodes I can't even go back and listen to because how bad it was. But,
dude,
but people listened, like they still heard it, and it was like, okay, you know what I mean? But it was a grind, dude. And again, I had to, like, once I was like, okay, how can I get better? That's when I started taking it more serious. And like, I was using StreamYard for free for a while. And that's when I realized, like, oh shit, no wonder, like, I'm having connection issues. These fuckers want me to pay for it. That's why. I'm not going to get the best quality I could possibly get because I'm not paying for it. And then, I ended up putting money into it and getting a microphone, and that's when I started, like, people were like, hey man, I like how you're stepping shit up. And stepping stuff up is like how I realized I gotta every year I need to find a way to get better, and then the real grind was becoming better as a human, again, because I was pretty freely of how I was acting, but the more I was myself, the more I realized, dude, I'm fucked up and I don't want to be this way, because mainly I was meeting people like Bill, Gary, Marshall, and I'm like, dude, these guys are so fucking top notch, and I'm like, dude, like, you there's a saying, you are who you hang around with, right?
And
they never said, oh, MJ, you need to change. It was something that I realized in myself, like, dude, you got to carry yourself better. And then I can't forget this person, Mark Bailey. So Mark Bailey was the first one to ever not only like invest in helping me, but like he was a really good true friend, and he was also really close to Forrest as well. So I never knew Mark. I only knew of Mark because I don't know if you guys know this. Mark is the reason why Forrest was able to start Cold Blooded Cafe. Because
really?
Yeah, when Mark was getting out, Forrest drove up to Mark's place, got all his old racks, and Mark gave him his whole formula. Mark told him exactly how to do it, how he ran it. And Mark was a real successful rodent breeder.
Yeah.
He fucking made a killing off of it, but he just decided it was just too much. And so Forrest took it over basically and branded it Cold Blooded Cafe. And Forrest always gave Mark flowers. Like, he would always talk, Mark Bailey this, Mark Bailey that. We need Mark on the show. And so Mark was just always a name I would hear. But then one Tinley, he was at Tinley. I think it was like my second Tinley. It was my second Tinley ever. And he walked up to me, introduced himself. And like, I had like an emotional, like, because I'm like, dude, you're Mark Bailey? And he's like, yeah, man, MJ. He's like, I watch all your episodes. I love your stuff. He's like, I want to sponsor you. And I'm like, and back then, like, my big sponsor back then was Ozzy Boyds. And he came to me. He's like, MJ, I want to sponsor your show. And I was like, I was like, sure, $50. Like, all I wanted was his name to be a part of Trap Talk. I didn't give a fuck how much. And then when he told me how's $1,200 sound, I was like, what? $1,200? And so that happened. And so I was just like, this is so sick. And then when Mark came, and then Mark's offer was triple that. And I was just like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, I could PayPal you right now. I'm like, well, what? And
the hell just happened?
I was at Tinley counting my coins, making sure I had enough money to like get a fucking taxi back to the airport. Like, I wasn't good with money back then. Like, I was kind of like I was struggling to get by because I was on unemployment because of COVID. Like, there was a lot happening then, you know what I mean? And so, and I was laid off. And so I was like, I didn't have a job. And so I treated, because of COVID and unemployment, I acted like my unemployment checks were paying me to podcast. So I was using that. Yeah. So that was like, and I knew, I was like, okay, I have a year of this. So, and I didn't want to go back to a regular job. Like, I told myself, like, I hated fucking working as a manager at Office Depot. I was ready to shoot myself in the head, dude. I really was. And so once Mark approached me and told me he wanted to become one of my main sponsors, and then he paid me right in front of my face, I was just like, dude, I was like, what just happened right now? And then that's when I was like, yo, there's signs telling me that this is what I'm meant to do.
Right.
And then, again, after Mark becoming involved, we would have serious conversations, especially because I would have blowouts, man. I would have podcasters calling people out and I was drinking heavily on the show back then. I didn't give a fuck, dude. I'll never forget. I would attack Jay Brewer all the time because I had a reason to. Jay that guy,
I mean,
yeah. Nobody was open about how big of a piece of shit he was, and I'll never forget.
We make fun of his egg hatchings, or as I like to say, extractions.
And so I have a story about Jay when I met Forrest at Prehistoric Pets, and because I was there, Forrest was able to take me behind the scenes. And when he took me to the breeder room, dude, I saw ticks without faces.
Oh God!
Yeah,
Jesus!
Just the eyeballs. I'm telling you,
no man.
Yes, no nose, no bottom jaw, just the eyes.
Just
and
from
they're
rubbing.
From trying to push out. And then he had 5 or 6 in one tub, and I remember just crossing my arms, and I was filming too. And I was like, and he didn't give a fuck. He's like, yeah, go ahead and film it. I'm just and I was so, and that's when I realized, I'm like, dude, there's these big names, not all of them, but they're fucking terrible at keeping. And they have a hoarding problem. And that's when I realized, if this guy can't get a certain dollar amount for it, then nobody could get it. And he's going to kill it. And so that's when my whole attitude shifted, because Forrest was like, dude, this is how it is. His attitude was like, dude, this ain't nothing new to me. This is how it is, and
I think we get numb to it in certain.
Yeah, but I was so brand new to where it pissed me off.
It should,
yeah. And I had a microphone, so I didn't give a fuck. I was like, that Prius. I nicknamed him Prehistoric Death. And again, that guy deserved it, but then I would find other targets that maybe was didn't deserve it as much, but it gave me a reason to go in. And so then I just was known as a guy who would attack people. And then eventually I attacked somebody who made a YouTube video about me on how I'm the biggest bully in the hobby. And then he put it on TikTok, and that started trending on TikTok. And then all these random fucking people were coming at. They were trying to cancel me. They were legit trying to cancel me. They went after all my sponsors. Dude, I had 13 sponsors, and they all had to do a meeting over the phone to see what they wanted to do. It was scary.
Oh, shit. Wow. Man.
Justin was like, "Hey, MJ, I'm going to be talking to all your sponsors today. We're not sure what's going to happen, but we're talking to see if we're going to continue supporting you or not." And dude, I was going to have my first kid on the way. We just bought this house. So I'm like, oh my God. And this is already 3 years of me doing it full time. So I'm like, dude, I just fired myself. And I'm so stressed out because my sponsors was my biggest pride. I was like, dude, these people all support me. I don't give a fuck what none of you guys say. Look at my sponsors. But then when they all got together, dude, that was the roughest week of my life, dude.
I'd be sweating bullets. No, man.
Yeah. And then I found out, through Mark Bailey, Cold Blooded Cafe wanted to drop me as a sponsor. And I was like this with Desiree. Steven and Desiree, we were like this, but I guess behind the scenes, they were talking about dumping me, and Mark caught wind. And Mark's like, MJ, I don't want you to get upset, but I'm telling you right now, Cold Blooded Cafe is probably they're going to drop you. And I took that real personal because of Forrest. That's right. It wasn't about what I was getting out of it. It was about that's Forrest's company. What do you mean? And I thought the last person to drop me would be them. Right. They know how I am. But then it was so eye-opening to me because, I was becoming a liability. Cold Blooded Cafe was the biggest rodent company back then. They made millions and millions of dollars. And then I had these other companies with huge names. And it's like, dude, you're gonna fuck this all up if you continue to go this route. And Mark was the one to tell me, MJ, you got to realize, being a professional is what's gonna save you being in this. And it's okay to be outspoken, but as long as you stay a professional and keep it professional, you're always gonna be okay. And so that's when I had a fucking big soul searching moment. And I remember I was eating a lot of mushrooms then. I was just going ape shit and having these self fucking reinventing moments. And it was crazy. It was a trippy fucking part of my 2020. What year was it? I think it was 2022.
Just love it. What year was it? I don't know. It was a lot of mushroom haze in there.
And it'd be stuck because it would be so I would wake up in the morning and I would eat mushrooms. And then I would be on my floor tripping balls, and my wife would come in. She's like, "What are you doing?" And I'll just be like, and she's like, "Why are you crying?" I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Give me a moment," and she'd be like, "You're weird," and so she would close the door. But like, it was what I needed because I had Mark helping me. I ended up only losing 2 sponsors. It was Cold Blooded Cafe and Redline, and so. And I was like, whatever. I was like, I still got the other guys. I was like, but this is like your chance. Okay. So I spent the whole year being on my best behavior. And I told myself, like, dude, you have a bunch of chondros. You're an actual reptile keeper, dude. So keep it about that. Like, go back to talking about reptiles. And who gives a fuck about these guys? Like, go back to that. So I went back to the basics. Like, I was like, all right, I'm going to do a podcast and concentrate on the guests, concentrate on breeding. And I'm going to stop bringing up hot topics that piss people off. And I did that for a good year. And then I kind of went back to it. But like, it was a big enough change where people saw it in me. And they, one of the things I liked the most was like people who always watched me, but they saw the growth. They're like, dude, MJ, like, I see a difference in you. And I'm like, oh, really? I was like, oh, well, thank you. I'm trying. And I never really went back to the way I was before people were trying to cancel me. Cause I was like, again, it was a lot of the alcohol, and I'm not trying to blame alcohol, but God damn it, dude, I was getting hammered on these shows, and I really felt the way I felt, but it just came off so aggressive and so like demonic, like it came off fucked up, and so it was a big year for me in 2022 because I felt like, okay, you're getting another chance, and you don't like who you are. What are you going to do to fix it? And that's when I told myself, well, you're not going to drink on the show no more. I was like, you're not even going to smoke on the show no more. Like, just because I'm thinking, how can I be a professional? Well, don't drink and don't smoke. Keep it about reptiles. And, I even tried to polish my language a little bit, but cussing's cussing to me. I always do that.
They've tried to stop me too. It doesn't fucking work.
So I mean, that was it, man. And then here we are, 2026. And, I'm still MJ, but just, I keep it, I do my best to be a professional about it. I still talk about, spicy stuff, but I don't single people out anymore. Like, I'm not like,
there's a difference for that. It's like talking about the spicy stuff is like, as the host is like, oh, let's talk about it. Let's have this conversation, as opposed to like, and fuck this guy and like stuff like that. It's we've had episodes like that.
We had a dark period too, where it was
it's not good.
We had a couple things. Actually, one was like when there was this whole thing where they started importing carpet pythons into the US, right? Yep. And I'm like, fuck this, man. I just bought all these carpet pythons, and now it's everybody else is just gonna import them. And I don't know what it was. It was just, I don't know. It was like afraid of like, you did all this work, and then all of a sudden now you have competition, and I just didn't look at it the right way. And I don't know, we go on and we're just talking shit. And then I think, I don't know what dawned on me, but I think maybe I heard it back, and I was like, that's terrible, dude. Yeah. And the other thing we did all the time was like, there was something about the Morelia world where we dogged ball pythons all the time. And it's funny because I started in ball pythons.
Low hanging fruit. Yeah.
It's I think it's jealousy, right? It's like, well, we have cool snakes too. Why can't we be all over the show, Yeah.
Well, like, to be fair though, Eric, like, the people I would make fun of the most were ball python people, and here I am. And the thing is, it's kind of like, all right, so I'm Mexican, but I have a lot of crazy racial Mexican jokes. But I'm Mexican, so I can say it. I don't give a fuck. I'm Mexican, and so that's how I looked at making fun of ball python people.
You're a ball python breeder. You can say
I am a ball python person, but you guys are fucking retarded. You know what I mean? So, and because again, bro, you did get a lot of the "I know what the fuck I'm doing" stigma because ball pythons brought in so much money, and money gets to people's heads. And then I'm like, dude, breeding, okay, I get it, cool to make money, but not that big of a flex, just so you know.
It always felt like to me, I'm more of the Ryan and Nick and the the nerd type
breeding
guy,
all
right?
the different types.
I want to know everything there is to know about the species that I'm working with. I want to see it in the wild. I want to know, anything I can do, right? And it's like, I don't know. It just seemed to me every time I would listen to somebody talk about ball pythons, it was the market and how much money they're going to make and what morph is going to this. And
how many grams
all this
does
stuff.
It take
and it was
to
just
make
like
a breeder. It's like I can't.
I was like, guys, I got to give you kudos for what you did, and like you've made the reptile hobby what it is. There's no doubt about that. But at the same time, like, do you know where a ball python comes from? You know, I don't know.
You
It
seen
just
one in
felt
the
like
wild?
that,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It just, and then I finally had this idea that it's, you know, just like, well, they're really good at the marketing, the business side of things, the reptile business. Like, you know, I wouldn't ask the carpet python breeder how you do a reptile business. I would want to pick the brain of a ball python breeder, you know. And then me and Owen just made a rule. It's like, listen, we can talk about things about them, or the, you know, if it relates to what's going on, but let's not just immediately trash them, because I don't know, it felt like it excluded people. Like, people might tune in and be like, oh, what are these guys talking about? And then they're like, ball pythons suck, and then they're just like, well, you guys suck, you know.
Yeah. Poking fun is one thing, but then also don't take it to a harsh level.
What's crazy is, boys, is like, you know, back in 2018, 2019, pre-COVID and the year of COVID, you thought everyone was great marketers and good at ball pythons, but now let's see how many of those people are even here now. They're not. So what's crazy is not that many of them were actually good business people.
Right.
Actually a very low percentage. Like, I mean, there's not that many, because, you know, there's ups and downs, and what makes you a good fucking businessman is you're able to survive any market level, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
And what happened once the market dropped? These fools chickened out. Like, they fucking, oh, I can't make 3,000 on this snake no more, I'm out. And it's like, what? That's a crock of shit. And I kind of saw all through that shit from a very beginning, like earlier stage. I felt like, you know, because for me, dude, like, I love money, right? But
who doesn't?
As we all do.
But for me, like, knowing how to breed chondros, knowing how to breed emeralds was more important than making money for me. Like, and when I would get a ball python person, like, when I was cocky, I was just like, dude, you're not that cool. Like, I'm sorry, but you're like, that was a cool snake that people forgot that you made 6 months ago. But yeah, bro, like, show me what other species do you work with? And again, this is coming off being Forrest's good friend, where he was an encyclopedia with species, and that's what really sparked my interest, was like other species. But again, like, ball pythons is why I'm here. Like, I wouldn't be where I'm at. All this came from breeding ball pythons. It just wasn't like the thing I stood on. Like, I wasn't like, well, I'm a fucking ball python breeder, and you know, because I saw people acting like that, and they just look like clowns to me. So, but again, there's that top 5% that I truly respect. You know, like Justin Cabell, Miguel, like those guys they're the bread and butter of the ball python game. But again, that's not easy to do. Like, you know, they've invested so much and really dialed in, and, you know, taking care of their customers, which unfortunately not too many ball python people do. Go figure. But the ones that did are here to stay for the long run. And so, you know, as much as I would have my stabs and my digs at ball pythons, dude, I owe everything to the ball pythons. I really do.
Yeah. To me, I was telling you before we started, I kind of have the chondro bug a little bit, and I wanted to pick your brain about chondros. Like, I don't know. I remember,
like, that's the only thing I don't have at this point. Like, at this point, dude, I got like 42 different species of reptile, no chondro. So
you can keep at least 3 chondros on that fucking 4x2 right there over there.
Those are for roughies. Those are for rough scale pythons. The superior Morelia.
The dirty chondro.
How dare you? You leave my rock chondros out of this.
But go ahead, Eric.
But yeah, I don't know. I first of all, I fucking love the thing you do with Ryan and Patrick, where you go through dude, I've binged that like 4 times now. Like, I just keep listening to it, and each time I'm like getting a little new nugget out of it. And so, like, for me, I've always been Morelia, and I was happy when they kind of took scrubs out, because I kept them for a while, and I was like, well, that's not going to work out. So I'm glad they took them out. So it's like, okay, I can just focus on carpets and chondros and rough scales, you know. And but I always had bad luck with them. I don't know why. So my question is, you're getting back into chondros. You've kept reptiles. What's the best advice you could give?
How should Eric do it?
Captain Brett. Like, so we kind of talked during sound check. You've been looking at Ryan, dude. Go to Ryan Young. Because here's the thing with Ryan. You know, Ryan does his best to keep a species where he feels it should be kept without having to fucking get it so big to breed or whatever. And I got to tell you, there's some people in the chondro game who feed the living share of their chondros because they see people have big clutches. And again, to each their own, you know, but I don't want to be I don't want to keep something that be a mass producer. Okay. Cause I don't look at chondros like burn and turn, you know, like a ball python. I get 1-2 seasons out of them. They're gone. I need something else. Cause the morphs, right? Everything I have on this wall right here, I've had since like 2018. Like, you know, like this is all, you know, and it's crazy because I started with imports. And because of Forrest, I had a really good import plug, Joe Switolski. Hey, surprise, surprise.
Well, we talk shit on that guy.
Yeah, well,
guy will talk shit on.
Surprise, surprise, he's not that good. But the thing with me is, like, you know, I would talk to Joe, and when Forrest was so close with him, so I got close with him. It got to the point where he would like, yo, I got this sarong in, and I'm like, oh shit. What else do you got? And he showed me 3 more, and he would send me all of it before I would even pay him money. He'd be like, here, just, I know you're good for it. And I would get a box of fucking chondros to my fucking house. And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then, you know, he was only charging me like $400 each or something like that. So I would find a way to pay him. And then whenever something came in fucked up, I would go off on him. I would be like, dude, this one's missing a fucking eye. Like, what do you do? Like, and like, you know, Joe had this thing where he would show you an animal, but then the one he sent you was not the one in the picture.
And
I would go fucking off on him, dude. And for, you know, because I was so close with Forrest and we were close, he would always make it right. Always made it right with me. And I would have to bug him. Like, I would have to be like, yo, when am I going to get it? Where's my tracking information? And I was so aggressive with him about it. And so thing is, no matter what Joe did with everyone else, he always took care of me. Like, he always made it right.
Yeah.
And then when I brought him on my show, that's when people I liked would be like, yo, you want to see what he did to me? And like, and then when I started a Patreon, he was fucking over my Patreon members. And that's when I was like, yo, like, I was like, I can't fuck with you no more, dude. Like,
yeah, dude,
like you're getting out of control, dude. Like, you are literally, you're fucking making people cry. Like,
yeah,
and you're ghosting them, you're taking their money, and you're sending them fucking decaying fucking snakes, dude. Like, he sent a snake that had worms coming out of it, like literally like maggots. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And so I had no choice but to cut ties with them. So I cut ties with Joe, but I would say 80% of this wall came from Joe, because he didn't send everything that was terrible. Some of it went the distance. And so, but you know, honestly, one thing about imports is it teaches you a lot, right? Like, it teaches you how to quarantine first and foremost, biosecurity, how important that is, right?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah. And you know how I just assumed, oh, you guys want to know another crazy story? So after a while of getting snakes from Joe, Forrest finally came to San Diego, and I was so just like, oh my God, Forrest is going to come to the trap. I was so excited. I was cleaning everything. I'm like making sure everything doesn't have mites. I'm like, we're all good, right? Okay, thank God. And so I see Forrest walking up my driveway, and I'm just like, oh my God, he's here. So he comes to the door. I'm like, what's up, Forrest? I open the door. He walks in, he takes one look around, and he goes, yeah, there's Nido in here for sure. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? Like, I was like, he's like, come on, man. He's like, I know who you get your stuff from. I'm like, so what? He's like, dude, he told me. And he was like, the first words he said to me was, you have Nido, and I would be surprised if these snakes are alive in 3 years. And I'm like, well, okay, welcome.
Damn.
Fuck, dude. Like, and and in my head, I was like, he's so wrong. I told myself, I'm like, he's wrong. But there was a lot of truth to what he said. Because I'll never forget, like, shortly after that, I had one snake ovulate, then die. And then that's when I realized, and then I was friends with Socrates, and Socrates taught me about Nido swabbing. And so he sent me a kit, and all before the snake died. And so I immediately swabbed it, turned it in, and what do you know? Positive for Nido. And I was like, dude, I thought I was fucked. I'm like, oh God, everything has it. So I tested my entire room, dude.
Jesus.
And what's crazy is that was who knows how accurate the tests were, but nothing else came back with Nido but that one snake. And you know, I was like, but that's when I was like, dude, you are so lucky. And so I still acted like everything still had Nido. Like, I was like, still like, every day looking like what's in your mouth, like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it kind of just got me on top of my shit from then on out, dude. And so, and then eventually I got my first captive bred snake from Socrates, and it was like night and day. Like, fucking thing came in, ate the first night, looked beautiful, and I'm like, okay, so this is where it's at. You got to go captive bred. And so Then my next one came from Bill Stiegel. And so and then, you know, eventually I started throwing Trap Fest. Bill came over to my house. You know, and that's when I started getting put on game with like, oh, like this is where if you're going to do chondros, fuck these imports like this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm happy for what they taught me, but what a waste of fucking money, dude. Like, holy shit. And so that's my first piece of advice, man. Go captive bred. And in 2026, bro, there's so many reputable breeders out there. But there's really nobody like Ryan, dude. Ryan is the man. That's the man right there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
I had so my first chondro I got was at the first Carpet Fest. Because
I have a picture of you staring at it. Yeah.
Oddly enough, it was from Buddy Buscemi.
Wow.
And it was a Biak that had like 3 green scales on it.
The rest of it was yellow. Oh, gosh.
Oh, it's solid yellow.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I liked the yellow. I think that's why I was attracted to that, because I was like, holy shit. And there's a picture of me, like Owen said, I'm doing the auction. And I have the chondro in my hand, and I'm just staring at it like, holy shit!
We're running the auction.
Chondro.
We're running the auction,
Holy
and he's staring
shit.
at it. I'm like, "Do you want to bid on it?" And Eric's like, "Yes, I do." I'm like, "All right, what would you like to bid?"
Yeah.
He ends up winning it, and he's like, "Shit, I don't know if I was supposed to."
I don't know if I have
like,
the money. But
you take a check.
yeah.
But
that snake actually ended up staying yellow. And the fucked up thing that I did was I traded it for a tiger carpet
for carpet pythons.
Oh, wow. To this guy. This kid, his name's Zach Baez. He starts, and again, this is kind of the weird thing about the hobby. Like you said, you start to meet people that like you never would have met otherwise, right? And this kid, he like lives around the corner from me, and he hits me up and he's like, "Hey, can I come over and see your collection?" And I was like, "What? I'm not letting anybody come and see I don't want nobody coming in here." So I live in a 2-bedroom apartment at the time, but I was like, okay, because he was a young kid. So I let him come. He comes over, and he starts going through my carpets and stuff. And at the time, I had like high-end carpet pythons. You know, I spent like, I don't know, close to $40,000 to establish my collection. You know, so it was like the top-notch morphs
like
of
first
everything.
Zebra Jags and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he comes in, and so at the time I was taking with this crappy cell phone pictures, right? And he's like, "Dude, I have to take pictures of your snakes. Like, this is bullshit. Like, you have these beautiful snakes and no one, you know." So I ended up going to his place, and he always wanted a chondro, and he had this red tiger carpet, and I was just like, "Oh my god, dude, that's the coolest thing." He's like, "I'll trade you for that Biak," and I was like, "Oh, I don't know," and I was like, "Yeah, I don't know," and I got in my head, I was like, "Yeah, screw these green trees. I'm getting a carpet.
I can do a carpet. Use the carpet better."
That's cool.
I regret that.
Oh yeah, it was a terrible
I
trade.
regret that.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the first one. And then it's probably right. It's probably to your point. I got a bunch of wild caught stuff and imports, you know, babies.
Rubiaks were a thing for a while, I think.
And
I had 3.
Yeah, so I wanted the locality stuff, and it was hard to find. Kind of, I don't know. It's not as hard to find anymore, I don't think, is it? No.
I mean, even people who are getting in that are fascinated by designers, they're also fascinated by pure locality stuff because, dude, some of this pure locality stuff that's being bred in captivity, they come out almost designer looking now.
I know. I was watching the one you did with Ryan on the Arus and stuff. Well, in the Biox as well, but it was just like, holy shit.
Yeah, and that's also something to pay note of because it's like, well, hold on, like you can't just skip what hasn't been done with locality stuff in captive breeding. And we look at some of the monocory line stuff that Gary works with and David Brahms. Those sell for $4,500 pure localities. Okay, so. That's fucking a lot of money. And it's also something that is considered pure, and it is pure. So localities, I think, are picking up. I think they are, because I get people who hit me up looking for pure locality stuff. And, I'm known to have BX stuff. That's the only pure locality I really have ambition to breed. That's BX have always been the first love for me. And that's, I think it's
what is it about them? What is it about them?
They're so diverse, dude. Like, you get so many different types of looking BX. And then especially when you go the mutt route with them, man, it's like you can make some really insane shit. And also they're great eaters. Like BX are the biggest aggressive fucking, I hate to use the word aggressive, but they don't fuck around. Like BX are very bold, they're confident, and they never have an issue eating. So I kind of always want that in the mix for whatever I'm breeding, for whatever reason, just to make my life easier. I feel like they're the most sturdiest locality out of all of them. And I've always been keen to them. You know what I mean? I love the monocory shit. I love the Aru stuff. Don't get me wrong. That shit's awesome. But I also don't have tons of space to fucking breed every fucking locality. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You got to pick.
Yeah. And my love does stay on the mutt side. I like designer shit. Like I like the freak of nature shit that really shouldn't be here. But I'm very biased because I don't like any other hybrid shit. You know, like I'm like, you know, with Gary, and what's crazy, I don't know if you guys know this story too, but you know, Gary, who has a super hard on for Carpondros, right? Like,
he does. That's so weird.
He will like, you will literally piss him off if you try to talk to him about Carpondros, right? And I picked up on it and I was like, yeah, fuck Carpondros. And I'll never forget at a Bill Siegel party, I'm talking shit about Carpondros, and Ryan's right there, and he's like, you know, that's a hybrid right there, right? I'm like, what? and he pointed at one of Bill's designers. I'm like, that's not a hybrid, that's a chondro. He's like, no, dude, that's those multiple species into one. I'm like, what do you? And I looked at him like, the fuck are you? I thought he was fucking with me. And I'm like, I'm like, whatever, dude. He's like, he's like, we have more relation to an elephant than those fucking things have to each other. And I'm like, what? And then he spent the next hour talking about it. And I eventually was just like, holy shit, I am a hybrid lover. Like and then he was calling them retard mutts and all these other, like Brian has zingers. Like he has things that just come off his mouth.
Yes,
and
he
like,
does.
He was really going in. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm one of those people. And so, and I was like, okay with it. I was still like, all right, well, you know, I got to own it. I still love them, but I'm going to probably not make fun of hybrids as much now.
I love that that's your mentality, because Eric and I were at the Arboreal Symposium where Daniel Natouche came out and told all the chondro breeders that all their shit was hybrids, and you could drop a pin in that room.
Oh man, they wanted
to
stick a fork in him.
They were talking about sneaking him out the back, dude. Like it was gonna get. But that was
no. I feel you, because I looked at Ryan like he was completely just fucking with me, like, you know. And mind you, that was one of my first times hanging out with Ryan, so I was feeling him out. And you know, I realized he's a jokester too, and I was like, yo, like this guy's funny as shit. So I thought when he dropped that bomb on me, I was just completely just thrown off. But then he kept breaking down examples, and I'm like, all right, let's go sit down. So we sat down at Bill's place, and he was just explaining everything to me, and I was like, it's kind of like finding out you're gay. It's like, wait a minute, I do like dick. You know, I don't. I'm married. I'm just so you guys know. Anyways, it was kind of like a whole like, oh my god moment. You know what I mean? And so, but again, dude, this is why I love the people we have in this hobby, man, because you never stop learning. Like if you're doing it right, you're always learning. You know what I mean? And you know, I've gotten closer with Ryan over the years. I consider him one of my good friends. Like he's one of the, anytime I have a disaster in the room, he's the first person I call, even though I'm not going to like what he says because it's fucking brutal every single time.
Yeah.
But it's the answer I need. You know what I mean? So I have so much respect for Ryan. And, but yeah, dude, that's kind of, you know, that's where I'm at. I love the designers no matter what. Like I'm going to be making some crazy mutts for sure. This year I got some cool shit, but yeah, that's where my heart really lands. But pure locality stuff, man, I always tell people, man, if that's what you want to make, yellow reds don't matter, fucking please do it, because there's not enough of it. There really isn't enough pure locality stuff out there. And I think if somebody is really devoted to it, you're gonna see some Prada monocory line shit like that's what's being out there now. Like with me, like I don't know, do you see that fish that BX?
Yeah, fish. Yep.
Yeah. So fish is still like 90% yellow, like hardly any green, and he's 3 years old. So my fucking goal is to make more BX like that. You know what I mean? And he was a red neonate too. So it's like when you have a red neonate go high yellow like that, oh man, it's a trip, you know? And so my yellows are the one, I love yellows that were red that turn yellows. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's also, you know, but honestly, if you're somebody out there who likes high yellow shit, yellow neonates is where it's at too. Like, you know, the thing is the odds of them going fucking greener than grass pretty high. Like that's the only thing with yellow. It is what it is. Yeah, you'll get the one-offs that are like, oh my God, but reds are more predictable. Like when you have a red, even though fish was not predictable at all, it's still more of a chance you're going to get a wild card out of a red versus a yellow from my experience. But really, like I kind of like make, you know, kind of joke about yellow neonates. Like last year I made 6 and I gave them all away. And it pissed people off. Like I had people ask me how much for that yellow. I'm like, I don't sell yellow. It's like I make them feel so belittled by like you're literally asking me to sell you a yellow. I give them away to my Patreon members, and they were just like, all right.
Oh, that's good.
They're great. They're really awesome. So.
Okay. So what, like designer wise, like you're doing the Beox and you're crossing them over. Like what is your goal? Are you're trying to do a high black or just whatever pops out and then you're going to run with it, or like what's your?
Yes, I'm all about pedigrees. Like there's certain lineages out there that I know that I have. Like my buddy Socrates sold me my very first potent designer male, who's finally sired 2 clutches for me this year. And you know, his lineage goes all the way back to Trooper Walsh. You know, it's like nice. It's there's a bunch of names. I don't know if you guys know all the crazy designer names, but
some of them. Yeah,
I do.
So, I would know.
Guy Lopez and fucking like just some insane blue line stuff with also some calico stuff. And so, you know, I'm a big fan of John Irby stuff and, you know, Bill's, Stiegel's, Marshall's. I got homies that work designer stuff that I would always dream about having. And so and the thing is, with designers, even though there's people saying like, oh, everyone's chasing the same thing, you don't get the same thing. Like, even if you do the same pairing year after year, they're always different. Always. Like you never have one that identically looks like the next one. And if you are playing your cards right, you're always going to get insane wild card scenarios for the most part. So I'm just like, every time I look at a designer to locality outcross pairing or designer, it's like a blank canvas, and I'm about to paint some wild shit. You know those artists that just go and they
just whipping paint at the wall.
Remember, you've seen ones where they're sliding and they're fucking, you know what I mean? That's the way I look at it. It's like I'm doing very minimal effort to make some crazy looking art. You know what I'm saying? The snakes do all the work. I just put them together. And that's, you know, again, I started literally from ground zero. Like I started from only being able to afford imports to then finding a way to get captive bred stuff to then eventually getting some really crazy potent designer stuff. And now here I am 10 years from getting my first chondro where it's happening now. Now I got like, this is going to be the first year I make, last year I had calico line stuff to BX stuff, but this year I got even more crazier males that are going to BX and stuff like that. Like I got an insane Patrick Holmes male that has blue deuce watermelon bloodline in it. So, you know, it's just, I'm so excited for it, man. So what's gotten me out of bed every night or every morning were just these insane designers that I've drooled over. They've never been boring to me. Going to Bill's place is never a dull moment. Like Bill's, I've been there, I don't know how many times at this point. Always stay at his house, but every morning I'm in his room with my coffee, just fucking staring, and it's always been impactful. Like it's always had an impact on my life. So, yeah, man, I just you know, that's where I'm at, dude. I feel like I'm still in the beginning stages of my production, especially because it took me 7 years to actually have my first clutch go the distance. You know what I mean? Like I literally ate shit for 7 years. Couldn't get them established, and it got to the point where I would get them fully developed out of the egg, and then they would prolapse and die. And so like it was always a stage. Like first it was like get the eggs, then it was like, okay, don't let the eggs die in the incubator. Okay, don't let the snake die in the egg after they've been in the incubator. Then it was, okay, you got the snake out, get it to eat. Okay, then you get them to eat, and it's like, okay, let's hope their guts don't come out of their asshole. You know what I'm saying? And so, and what's crazy is I love Marshall, man. Marshall's one of the most jaded homies I ever had, man. But I'll never forget, you know, this is when we were all close at that time when I was finally getting eggs to hatch. And I would always share with them, hey guys, my fucking babies just ate. And they would all say, congrats, MJ, congrats, MJ. And of course, Marshall would be like, congrats, prolapse is next.
Oh, shit.
I was like, what do you mean prolapse is next? And sure enough, bro, what's crazy is when he said that, I had 15 chondros that all came out. Every one of those chondros died from a prolapse after he said that.
Holy shit.
I was like, Marshall, you motherfucker, dude. Like they all, and he was like, he was like, damn, my bad. Like,
I was kidding. I didn't think they'd be serious. Like it's
dude. It was fucking crazy, dude. And so, anyways, but again, like getting your ass kicked and not giving up. Which, if it wasn't for my friends and, hearing all Forrest's fucking failures with chondros and hearing all the other nightmares people have gone through, I would have checked out a long time ago because, I love these so much. I hate seeing them dead. Like, I hate seeing them dead, especially when, like, you're the one trying to bring them into this earth and you're not being successful at it. It's like, what are you doing this for? And so, and it wasn't about the money. Never was about the money. I just wanted to say I produce chondros. Like, that's all I ever wanted to say because I had so many people telling me, MJ, this is not easy to do. A lot of people quit. It's not at the faint at heart. Like you're going to have some crazy battles. And it was kind of going back to how Forrest said everything was going to die. I use that as fuel. Like, no, fuck that. Like I'm going to find a way. So, I figured out, finally 2024 is when I had my first clutch all come out of the egg. It was a pure BIAC clutch. Well, none for the BIAC, and 15 of them hatched, and they all fucking made it. And I ended up getting 3 to prolapse out of the 15, which I'll take that all day.
It's good numbers.
Yeah. So once I had the taste of that glory, I was in, dude. And so that led to last year, where last year I had 7 clutches. And the very first clutch of last year, she went egg bound and she died in my hands. It was terrible.
Oh,
damn.
Before I had my blowout year last year, the very first clutch I had was my very first designer female that I had to fucking push out 16 eggs, and the last egg to come out, she croaks in my hand.
Yeah.
And then here we are all over again, like that feeling of what the fuck am I doing? Like it was after my Miss Willie line emerald female died with babies inside of her.
Stop.
So I had Forrest's pure Miss Willie line females. I ended up getting 2 females from him after he died.
Wow.
Yeah. And one of them passed away after ovulating, and then the other one ovulated, and then day 160 comes and she's like trying to push him out. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? And she just ends up dying too. But then Marshall's like, hey, if you want to see what's inside of her, you're going to want to cut her open. And dude, cutting her open, oh man, it still gives me PTSD. But oh my God, bro, I cut her open and 13 fully developed, just dead inside of her were right there.
Ooh,
and I'm looking at their pattern, and they're all in the freezer, but I'm just like, what the fuck? I could have made this, like, and it was very discouraging, dude. And that was the last Miss Willie female I had. Like that was it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, bro, it was a brutal fucking like blow after blow. But then after that, I had 100% success hatch rate on the rest of the clutches from that year.
Yeah.
And so,
you crushed it, like 70 babies or something, right?
I got 70 eggs, and all 70 of them hatched.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And that
wait, I gotta think, like, how was your patience for getting them going? Like, holy shit.
Well, because you gotta understand like how long I've been waiting for this moment.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it was like, and also too, I had a lot of people in my ears telling me like, how are you gonna do it? Like, oh my God, you got 6 clutches. Like, what's your plan with all the babies? And I felt like, okay, are you doubting me right now? Like,
right.
Whenever someone doubts
it's fuel.
me, it's fucking fuel. And so, dude, and then I got so sick of people telling me like, how are you gonna do? I told them, fucking watch me, dude. Like, and that's when, like, bro, I'll never forget that last year I was listening to a bunch of like stoic YouTube story bit of like, be strong, blah blah blah. Every morning I'm playing stoic shit. You know what I mean? Like, the stoics don't worry about others, but just a bunch of like getting yeah. And then sure enough, man, like my first clutch came, they all hatched. Then the second one came, they all hatched, and the next I have all the babies, and I'm like, oh my fucking God, here we go. And then it was like, well, how are you gonna get them to eat? And I was like, watch me. And so the pure BIAC, the one and only pure BIAC clutch from last year, they all fucking ate first time around.
Right.
Then the second one, they all ate first time around. The third one, they all ate first time around. So I'm just in a fucking zone. And of course, when I get the calico shit, None of them want.
Somebody here's gonna be the fly in the ointment.
It's always the
There's a
prettiest
clutch
one,
somewhere
right?
here. Yeah.
So my last two clutches, 5 and 6, were the fucking ones that I wanted the most because it was calico blood, right? And they looked the craziest. And of course, like 1 or 2 of each clutch only ate. And I was like, okay. I was like, all right, calm down. Like, you got a bunch of geckos. And so my goal was to fucking feed crested geckos to them. But then Bill on a podcast said, he's like, you know what? I learned where if you have a pain in the ass runner or a shy one, it doesn't want to eat, don't waste any time assist feed it. Yep. And so I was like, okay. So once I found out all these snakes want to be a pain in the ass, I literally just kept assist feeding them. Yeah. And dude, I got to tell you right now, I would assist feed one, the next time it would eat. I would assist.
Oh, really?
And then I maybe had 3 or 4 that were like, took maybe 3 or 4 assist feds, but they all turned on like a light switch, dude. And also, like, I went to bed better knowing, okay, they got something in their stomach. Like, and they looked full. Even after assist feeding them, they looked full. They were perching, and I was like, in my head, I felt like, okay, they're eating. It's all good. And eventually, bro, they just all turned on. And so I still got 2 to prolapse out of 70 last year, which isn't fucking okay.
I'll take it. Yeah.
I almost expect it now. And it's like, I feel like prolapsing comes from a few things. I know for sure if you don't have good humidity, if your husbandry's off, you're going to get some prolapses for sure. And so I knew that being in my room, how poor my humidity has been. Like my humidity, if I had no humidifiers in here, it'd be 20% at best. If I open up the door, it's 10%. Like it's drier than fucking shit here in San Diego. So that's when I invested into humidifiers. And I got this thing that John Irby mentioned on my show, Air Care humidifier. And so I bought an Air Care and I was like, oh my God, like my fucking room's 55, 60% humidity. And so the thing is, I had to fill it up every 2 days, which I didn't give a fuck as long as it stayed humidified. And so then I was like, let me just buy another humidifier. And now I have 3 that I use. now my fucking humidity is like, this is the worst my humidity gets now.
Oh, wow. 65.
All right. Yeah. All right.
Dude. And again, being in here a lot kind of sucks, but my animals love it. And again, like I don't have to spray as much. Like I'm getting fucking full sheds.
Yep.
One of the things about owning chondros is having to deal with stuck sheds suck. Like that's how you're going to get bit is by soaking them, getting them off their perch. And once I realized like, oh my God, like I don't ever deal with stuck sheds. I'll get the one-off occasion from a bottom enclosure or something like that. But I'll take one every blue moon versus all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I was dealing with stuck sheds a lot. And so humidity is a chondro's best friend, and also not that they do not like it hot. Chondros love it low 80s, bro. Okay. 80 to 82 is their fucking wheelhouse. I gotta tell you right there. They're the calmest, they're the chillest. You don't have to worry about supplementing so much heat because it's like, you know what I mean? People think, oh, you got to have 87, 88. So you have a fucking goddamn panel blasting on them. Yeah. And no matter what your humidity is in your room, if that panel's on, it dries them out. Like it cooks them. You know what I mean? And and that's another thing about Ryan Young. He told me how much he hates panels. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? That's what I use. And so he's like, well, why don't you you're in San Diego. So why don't you just let ambient do most of the heating and then don't use the panels unless something's gravid or something. Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. So now this is about 2 years now, because before my big blowout year, I was getting, I had back-to-back slug out clutches. And I was like, what's going on? Like, and then I had a female giving me slug out clutches that never gave me slugs before. And that's when I realized, dude, you're fucking cooking everything. Like the male sperm's getting cooked in there. Like you got to fucking kill those panels. And that's when the Ryan's quote, fuck those panels, really came to like fruition. And I was like, yeah, fuck these panels. Like, terrible. So I ended up shutting them all down, getting my room up to 82 on its own. And then if something was gravid, I would turn the panel on. But then I also found out that the herb stats have a max output. And they all come defaulted at 100. And then somebody was like, yo, just go to 50%. And like, cause I don't know if you guys ever felt a heat panel when it's on, it's fucking hot as shit. Like even if you're shooting for a desired temperature that isn't that hot, if it's on, it's blasting.
It's going.
And so when I put it down to 50%, I can literally put my hand on it and it's not that warm. It's warm, but it gradually gets to that point versus it just fucking pumping out heat. So those were the two big game changers for me: the humidity and not using the panels only unless something was gravid, and then also the percentage of the max output. So that's another piece of advice for you, Eric. If you get into chondros, just understand how much they really truly like the humidity, and they don't need it that hot. If you could get them to 80 to 82, dude, your cruise selling.
So it's funny you say that. When I went my first trip to Australia, we get out. We're like right below where chondros would be. So we're in like where were we? Like Gelatin and in like the Atherton tableland, and then right up is where the chondros are, in the Daintree and all up in that area. And then the first thing I noticed right out of the rip, right? So it's like they say that to cool carpet pythons, you have to take them to 70 degrees. So there's this like, oh my God, they can't go below 70 degrees. They'll get a respiratory infection or whatever. I see a carpet python, it's crawling on the road and it's 70 degrees. And I'm just like, what? And the humidity was like, I think it was close to 90%.
Yeah.
So I came home right away and I said, I know that carpet pythons don't need humidity per se because they shed right and all this stuff. They're a little hardier to say than they're a little more forgiving of stuff than say chondros are.
Right.
And but that doesn't mean that that maybe it's not a good idea to get them. And then immediately it was like turning everything down and like upping the humidity. So now maybe I'll have much better luck this time. I don't know. We'll see.
No, yeah, and also too, my recommendation, Eric, is get a baby, dude. Like not a young baby, but a juvenile. Like get one that's probably close to a year old, and raising them up is always in your best fucking. It's always the thing to bet on is when you're able to raise it up, and because again, you don't need to stress so much about how to keep it as an adult when it's a baby, and it does perfectly fine in a rack system. Like chondros spend their first 2 years, with me at least, in a rack system in a tub. And you're not going to convince me anything else to do with them other than putting them in a fucking rack system because they like the security. The humidity isn't something you have to battle so much in a tub. It's so like a big water dish, spray them every other day if you need to. And again, if your humidity is pretty good in your room, you don't have to worry about spraying hardly ever. I just like spraying. Like I think spraying, I see them drink off their bodies. I know for a fact when they're very young, they don't even know how to drink out of the water dish. They kind of rely on drinking off their scales. So it's just so fucking much of a easier experience when you're raising the chondro versus getting adults. Because also too, like, man, adults have some sort of a track history. Like they've been through it at some point. You know what I mean?
Right.
When you're young, it's like a clean slate. It starts with you. And so captive bred, start with something that's a little bit older than 6 months, nothing older than a year, and you're good, dude. You are solid for sure.
Okay. I was going to show you the picture. That was the one I got.
Look at that. That's pretty, dude. Look at the nose rub on that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that I could tell right now, man. Like that's a special snake for sure.
Then it turned into that.
Yeah, that's what you grew up into.
Vibes, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so fish. I don't know. Do you know how old that snake was at that point?
What was that? 2012. At this
Something
point, this was probably 2013, 14. I think it was produced in 2011, maybe.
So are 3 years old?
Yeah.
So see how the scales are coming in, or see how the green's coming in one scale at a time?
Yeah.
That's exactly what fish has been doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and fish probably has the same amount of green that this snake has right here. The only difference, he was a red neonate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if this one was red. I'll have to ask.
No,
I don't remember.
It's yellow. I could tell you it's yellow for sure.
Yeah.
I love how I had a chondro from Buddy and I traded it back to him for rhino rat snakes. So it's like
and that was my Arubiak.
Oh yeah.
And then
awesome, dude.
I had one of those mustard chondros. Hold on.
Going through your chondro folder on your
It was reliving it, bro.
Yeah, right. Kind of get it, dude. This is what happens. He gets the bug. We do like 6 shows about talking about chondros, and then I'll be sitting here like drinking my coffee, and he'd be like, "It's a new snake day." I'm like, "Oh, is it? What happened? What's coming?" As if I don't know by the episodes that we just did for the past 2 months.
Yeah, I do tend to put the episodes around what I'm into at the moment. Yeah. Sorry.
Nah, you're good, dude. Yeah. Nah, man, I get it. I'm telling you, I appreciate, like, everyone has a niche, like everyone has why they keep reptiles, what their true love is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mine's been chondros from the fucking get-go, dude. Like, because understand, going back to raising up, loving reptiles, like I hated reading books, but I loved the zoo magazines. Like, the zoo magazines was
Right.
whenever there was a library day or something, I went straight to those magazines, didn't read a fucking sentence. I would just look at pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we had book fairs too. I'll never forget the book fairs where I would immediately run to the animal section and I would just, fucking buy the whatever book I could afford then that was animal related. And the things that I would always see are emerald tree boas, chondros. And I didn't know what they were then, but I would just remember staring at them like, whoa, what is this? You know what I mean? And so that always instilled in me. And then getting introduced to the hobby and finding out, like, you could get these sent to your doorstep. You know what I mean? And so it was kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this now type moment. And the thing with carpets, bro, like people like Owen and even yourself, Eric, I appreciate the dedication, dude. Like, there's some fucking real deal carpet people out there. Like, the way I love chondros, there's people out there that love carpets, and you ain't gonna convince them anything else. That's their bread and butter. And I think that's what matters. And that's what the carpet community has, at least dedicated fucking carpet keepers. Like they're going to die on that hill no matter what. Yeah. And that, dude, I respect that so much, dude.
Yep.
And I don't think carpets don't get the credit they really deserve. I think chondros kind of steal the limelight from them.
Yeah,
they do.
We were always the ugly kid we were always the ugly kid in the corner, man.
I mean, let's be real. The reality is, like, come on, it's hard to compete. I remember the first show I vended was Tinley, and I was vending it with Julie Bender, GFX Morelia, and she had, and down from me is Mendez, Terry Phillip, Rico Walder, and who
was that, the Chondro Coalition?
Yeah. So they're at the table, they're like right next to us, and I'm freaking out because I'm like, holy
Eric
shit, man. I'm like,
case.
oh my God. I got the carpet people down this way, Luke Snell, Jason Balin, Eric Kohler, all those guys. And I got the chondro people this way. I'm like, this is fantastic. And I produced my first clutch of Popwin carpets. And, like, to me, that was it, because the window was wide open. And I never want to be a follower of people, right? So, like, when I got into carpets, it's like, well, everybody's doing jungles. I'm going to do something different. Nobody cares about these snakes, but I bet you can selectively breed them just like you can breed the jungles. And look what they did with the jungles. I'm going to do that with these IJs and breed the shit out of them. At one time, I had like maybe 60 of them that were just like all different types. I have this melanistic project that I'm working on that's like turning out to be like a melanistic carpet, which will be cool if it comes to fruition.
When it comes to fruition.
When I've hoarded them all. I have so many of these things. I just kept every clutch I never sold not one of them, kept them back. But I'm sitting there and I'm so proud of these things. It's my first clutch and everything was maternal incubation, the whole deal. I did the whole deal. And Julie comes out and she comes out with this Aru and she's holding it and everybody stops for the Aru. And I was like, damn it, they don't like my brown snakes. This is bullshit.
They don't like my ugly little brown babies. And they went right to the
So I immediately came to the realization that carpets will never be able to outshine. Well, they do in my world, but like I get it where a person's looking at. I mean, come on, like
also they need a year or two, like let them grow up a bit. Damn it.
Yeah, they can, but
so.
But that's always been my love. But the cool thing is like chondros are just close enough that they like resemble them, but they're smaller and they're different. Their head shape. I love the pits, the carpets and Morelia has and stuff like that. So I don't know. That's kind of where my love was always. I mean, that's how Morelia Python Radio started. And it's funny you talk about the haters, right? Nick Mutton, when I first started MPR, was just like, he's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna talk about carpets? Nobody's gonna listen.
You're running out of time and topics.
You're gonna be done in a year, or you're gonna be done in 6 months. And I'm like,
I love how he talks shit with a smirk on his face, and it's like, fucking guy, dude. Like, one thing I love about Nick Mutton, like Nick Mutton's, he reminds me of the older friends I had that I always wanted to be cool with, but all they would do is make fun of me. Like no matter what I did, it was like, oh, look at that idiot, and it was like. And I still hung around. Like I would still want to come hang out with them. And I love that about Nick, dude. I really do, man. Because again, you can't take away what the fuck this guy knows, what he's been through. He's not gonna give a fuck how you feel about what he said.
It's hilarious.
And that's right in line with how I am. The thing with Nick is like he wrote a fucking book. I did it, you know. So but yeah, like I Nick Mutton's coming to Trap Fest, dude.
Dude, I wanted to go so bad, but I can't get off work because it's like right at Memorial Day. It's Memorial Day weekend. I couldn't get off, but
it's all good next year, bro. And then and I would love for you to come out sometime too. That'd be great, dude.
That'd be awesome. Obviously the same deal with all that. Plus, I had to take off because we're going to Mississippi first week of June to look for cane breaks and other shit. So we're just going to be disgusting in the woods and then
badass.
Try not to die, I guess.
I know that's not your gig, man.
I know, but yeah,
I've heard like if there's not an Airbnb, but the thing is we do Airbnb.
I mean, we're old, dude. Like I don't want to be out there for that long, and I want to be in a bed with a shower afterwards.
I mean, if it's in the States, I'm down, but going to Papua and fucking like in the bush, you know what I mean? Like
Nick has gone way further than I would ever want to do. Like he's like. Yeah, unfortunately, we had to eat like eel and live in a tent, and I'm like, no. Like it's.
But if there's like a parasite that could go up your asshole and create another,
I'm not doing
it. Like I'll be the guy where like, holy shit, that happened to you. Like you got a parasite that entered your dick hole. Like you know what I mean? Like I just can't. And being 40 now, like I don't want to be in the hospital. Like I don't want. I think tired of being hurt. Like I'm so sick of it.
I think it's similar to like what you were saying with the chondros when you're producing them and all. I think like for me, maybe it's my Gen X tendencies or whatever, but it's like in order for you to feel the win, you have to feel the loss.
Yeah.
Like you have to feel the bottom in order to get, to the top.
Well, that's what makes it better. It's like the first clutch of rough scale pythons. Remember, I had like 10 eggs, and like every day I'd be like 9 eggs, 8 eggs, 6 eggs, and it was just like 1 egg, cut it open, dead baby. Well, that didn't go well. Like, that happens, and then years later, when you get the clutch, you're screaming at your incubator, jumping up and down. Like that's the high I keep chasing. So yeah,
I get it.
What has you most excited in the reptile hobby?
Honestly, like, I just had my second kid a few months ago.
Nice.
And, I had to stop all the traveling, like I one thing I was doing for a few years, like I was telling you guys, like I would go, fly to places, either shows or people's collections and like hang out with them. And like, I love that, man. Like, I've been to Gary's place. I've been to Marshall's place multiple times, obviously talking about going to Daytona. And I love that because I get to see the people, dude. And so, but it's also like catch-22 because I love being home now, like having 2 kids and shit, and like being around my wife and seeing them grow. Like there's nothing better on earth than being a part of the family I have. But I also miss doing the work, because I feel like every time I would travel, like it would benefit the show somehow, or like I would come back rejuvenated, like, yes, I have an idea for something, like, oh, I got to do this. And so now that I told my wife, like, hey, I'm gonna be on a no-fly zone till May, but then once May comes, I'm gonna kind of pick things back up again. And she was like, all right, that's cool. So I just came back from a trip, my very first trip in like I don't know how many 8 months, to Josh Hansen from Workshop Reptilium.
Yeah, I saw that video.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Dude, I just finished editing. Yeah, I just finished editing a vlog for Morph Market, and dude, his property, he's on 100 acres. Okay. He has a house that's fucking humongous that he built himself. That's super, not himself, but like he designed it.
Yeah.
Like, all modern. He has an olive tree in his living room, a huge fucking tree, like in his living room. And I'm just so that kind of shit inspires the living shit out of me, dude.
That's awesome.
So, and again, the animals, like seeing how everything he has is fucking bioactive. Like, I mean, I can't imagine the workload, like, holy shit, but he has Jeff. Jeff is an awesome dude that is partnered up with him, who runs everything for him over there. And Jeff is a wizard, dude. Like he knows his shit. But, coming back from a trip like that, and then I got to stay at Mark Bailey's place because Mark Bailey is an hour away from Josh. So I flew in, got a rental, stayed at Mark's, and then me and Mark went to Josh's place. And Mark's me and Mark are like this. He's my boy, and so Mark has been at his place that he owns for 30 years, where he had all the rodents and all the ball pythons. And so being there was like nostalgic. Like I was like, wow, this is where it all started for you, Mark. And so, you know, and he's like an owl whisperer. He has owls on his property that he's had for 12 years that just literally come to his front porch looking for food. He hand feeds them rodents and like they go on about their day. And I'm like, so this is living. I'm like, oh, like what the fuck? And so seeing people's lifestyles and like, and it's a wholesome, like for the most part, we talk about people like Gary, Marshall, and everyone. It's like, it's an awesome life that these guys all have. And so it's just a reminder like how much I love what I do. And I'm really excited to kind of get back to traveling. But also too, like, you know, I can't wait to come home. Like as soon as I'm gone for a day, I'm like itching.
Yeah.
Dude, I need to get home. And especially right now with everything ovulating, I got chondros breeding. I want to be here. So, you know, a couple things are the breeding that's happening right now. And just traveling, you know, kind of getting back out there. You know, I'm going to go to Bob Vu's show in August. And then Bill's right after that, and then Tinley, and then I don't know. Do you guys know who Brian Susan is from Sundown Reptiles?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's familiar.
So I've been to his place before in North Carolina, and he literally has a facility that's just for tree monitors, and he has every species there. And then we're talking hundreds of tree monitors. Okay, it's fucking insane. And
wow.
And he's all dialed in. We're talking like just his misting system alone is $60,000. Okay.
Holy shit.
Yeah. He has that looked out of his misting system. And, and it's just top technology. Like, and you talk about just being inspired, and he got this all from breeding reptiles. And so, yeah, man, just getting back out there and I miss people. Like, you know, I love doing this, but you guys know how it is when we're hanging out in person. It's like, oh, what's up, dude? Finally,
it's
like
different.
We're together, you know,
I think that's the thing I love about our herping trips is kind of like that, but you're getting in an intimate, like you learn a lot about people when you're like, with them and hanging out with them 24/7 and in
Eric
a car.
is the longest relationship I've had. So yeah, it's at this point.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true.
That is true.
Yeah. You know, like going to Bill's place is one of my favorite things because, you know, for the most part, Marshall's there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Ryan makes it there. And like when we're all in his backyard, kicking it, smoking, doing whatever, it's like, dude, it's like a complete full moment, such a wholesome moment. Because we talk so much on the internet, but when we're together, it's like, oh, we're here now. And it's just nothing but laughs and fucking, it's literally the best time. And, you know, again, I think that's what it's all about is, you know, being around people that make you happy, you know, like, and again, I came from a world where, you know, I'm so used to having a chip on my shoulder or like, oh, that person, you know, I don't like that person, man. And all that shit's out the door when it comes to these guys, man. Like I fucking love all my friends, you know, and I keep my circle tight. Like I'm not a yes guy, and I don't fucking welcome everyone under my tent. You know what I mean? Because I like to stay with the like-minded people who know who I am. And so, and again, like it's just a great feeling. I love the people part of this hobby, dude.
Yeah. I mean,
what do you mean, Owen?
I mean a lot of things, but no, I mean like it's that kind of part of the whole thing is that I think we don't really take as the first part because I think we all got brought in here for the reptiles, but then there are some of the best friends of my life that I've made through this community. So yeah, and these people help me become better version of myself. Right. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And they didn't tell me to. They just showed me. Like they showed me how they were, and I'm like, I want to be like that. You know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think probably between Rob Stone, Keith McPeak, Justin Julander, and Nick in their early days was kind of took me under his wing and was like, you know, if you're going to do this, then you should do this and don't do that. Why are you doing this? Why did you do that? And, you know, and then Owen is always coming and hitting
so
me with
low on the
sense.
list. I'm very low on that list. That's terrifying.
Well,
terrible.
No, come on, dude. You're the top of the list.
No. You already said it. Move on. It's too late.
Yeah.
So it's,
I don't want you to blush and all and get all like, oh.
I'm just gonna put a bomb in your car.
Now
it's like it's
but yeah, man, it's I'm with you, man. It's a lot of friendships with those people in my inner circle are.
And another thing too, guys, like, you know, I've had, you know, growing up, you know, I've always had friends that in majority of something that I did to kind of fuck up the relationship. Like I've had some really good people in my life that I've done not so cool things to. And, you know, I just don't let that ever be a thing with these guys. Like, you know, and it sucks because I have some friends that I wish I didn't do some of the things I did too growing up, but I value these guys so much where, like, over my dead body would I ever do anything wrong to these guys? You know what I mean? And even people like you guys, like I value the people of this hobby so much that I want to look after them any way I can, because how much I feel like they're doing that for me. You know, any kind of support that I have in here that I know that's real support, I treat it like gold. And all I do is just make sure I do right by them. I treat them how I want to be treated. You know what I mean? And I know that's a pretty popular saying out there that I did not live by for a long time. Like, I've had people who treated me like gold and I treated them like shit. And I don't know if that was just kind of a toxic trait of mine, but now it's not a problem for me anymore. Like, and I'm so thankful because the people I have in my life have helped me become a man, and like, I love them, dude. They're like family. They're all like family to me now. And so I'm just happy I'm at that place now, you know?
Yeah. It is, it's a good spot to be in, man. And you know, it's funny you talk about those things. Like, I feel that like a lot of those things have made me a better person, a better husband, a better, you know, friend. It's, you know, because I don't know. It's just sort of like, I think the older you get, the more you kind of reflect on those kind of things. And like, oh man,
I've seen people not get it. Like I've seen people where like the dots never connected. They stayed an asshole. They stayed fucking people over that were good to them. And I feel like if it wasn't for the reptile hobby, I probably would have stayed on that path. And again, that's just an assumption. You know, I'm glad I don't have to worry about that.
Right.
But I'm so happy with what I have because of who I am now. And I'm still a work in progress, but I've come a long way.
As we all are.
Yeah.
You know,
I just come a long ways in how I was like 5-6 years ago. I mean, I'm a long ways from what I was 3 years ago, but either way, like, it's only on and forward, you know. I was definitely somebody who had a track history of like doing good and then doing something really fucked up, and it just backs you up, you know. And I'm still vulnerable of that happening, but I don't let it be a thing. Like, I'm just so focused on doing better and better and better and just taking care of my people, man. That's it.
Yeah. So what's got you excited about the Trap Talk Network, Reptile Network?
So, you know, I'm very, very blessed to have the people, a part of the team that I have, you know, working with them very closely, helping them grow their episodes, and also teaching them why they're doing it. You know, like, I mean, we don't do Trap Talk to become a fucking Joe Rogan type podcast, because at the end of the day, it's the reptile hobby.
Right.
And if you're not talking about ball pythons or crested geckos or something that crazy, you don't expect fucking blowout numbers. And I tell them, like, we don't do this for the views first and foremost. So, and it could be something that gets to people because they're going live and they only get 10 to 15 people. I'm like, bro, that's 10 to 15 people watching your show. And in the reptile world, those are real viewers. Like, those are people that will walk up to you at a show and say, hey, I saw that episode and it was really awesome. And just that one person walking up to you to tell you how much they like that episode feels like 1,000 viewers were watching. Like, and that's what I try to tell people, that you're doing this because you want to do it because how much you love it. Like, fuck anything else. Fuck the subscriber count. Fuck the view counts. Do it because you love it. And so I'm getting them to just do it like they're doing it. And then eventually I want to help them out with sponsors. I want to kind of, you know, like Steven and I have a true business relationship because he started podcasting with me at the very beginning. He's devoted. So he was my first person I wanted to concentrate, help grow. Like, I want to get you sponsors, Steven, because I know you do this for a living and you're helping me do this. And I know it helps you, but I want to help you more. So whatever I'm doing for Steven, I want to do that for everybody. You know what I mean? But Steven deserves it the most. Like, Steven is the reason why he's the first one to get sponsorships that I got him, is because nobody deserves it more than Steven. And he's proven that to me. And so, but I have other people that are on that same level of commitment now. And so there's just, you know, people like Dave Levison, you know what I mean? Even though Dave I'm like his handler more than anything. But I love it. Like Dave's a real rock star. Okay, don't expect him to have good audio. Don't expect him to have a fucking perfect background.
Right.
Just expect him to show up and rock the show. Okay.
Right. Okay. Yep.
You're like, get him to the stage, and that's all you need to do. And Dave always follows through, man. Dave is a fucking rock star. He's like, he might not come fully fucking like presentable, but he's gonna get him a mic and he's gonna go off. You know what I mean?
So, yeah, it's still a good time. Yeah.
But yeah, I want to devote myself to helping the people a part of the Trap Talk Reptile Network. Again, like this is my second year of being a full-on network, going on 3 years now, and so nice. I want to invest in my people now. Yeah. I want to eventually have more than just Steven on the payroll. Like I want all of them to be on the payroll, and so and it's scary, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like even I'm unsure what next year is going to bring. Things happen. Do you guys know how like things could switch in a heartbeat? You know, like somebody who's doing really good this year might not be doing good next year. And so, and I've had people who tell me like, MJ, I can't sponsor you this year because I'm fucking hurting or whatever. And I get it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's the thing. Like I'm at a place where I feel like I could always figure it out for me, but now I got people under my wing and I got people under my network. I got to take care of them. And as scary as it sounds, I could do it. So what gets me excited is how to put my people on to where I'm financially supporting them and helping them, like, you know, because financial support will help them set other goals and help them grow. And again, like I want people to be a part of this as long as possible, man. Like this, there's no end for me. Like I don't know no other life at this point, you know, doing the podcast for 6 years now, there's no other life I want to know. Like this is it. Like this is it. And I know Steven and other people, they want this life too, dude. Like they want it. So I'm just trying to figure out how to get us all to that point, dude. I want us all to get to a point where we all got our own sponsors. We all got our own thing. It's just all under Trap Talk, you know?
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome.
That was awesome.
Really cool. I can relate to just that whole thing about like trying to just that whole thing of like trying to make it better. I kind of get I get a lot of inspiration from what you do, and it's funny, because you said that you get inspiration from what we did, and it's just like, I don't know, it's just like this circle of
fun little circle going around and around.
Yeah, because I'll just see, I was like, oh man, that's a great idea. Or like, oh yeah, I like how he did that, and it just gets my brain thinking. It's like, how can I do that, but do it differently than what they're doing? And like, so I don't know. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Yeah. And I always was like, when I first, I don't know, there was one episode that I really dug, and I was like, should I message him? And then I'm sitting there thinking like, well, how do I like it when people message me? Because I didn't really know you or whatever, and you might say like, "Oh, fuck you, Eric, go away," or whatever.
Oh, competition, asshole. Yeah.
So I'm like, I said, no, man, that means a lot to me when somebody messages me and said, "Hey, man, I really love that show. Whatever the topic you brought up or whatever." So I don't know. I just always like to do that when I hear a podcast that like really inspires me to just send it out, and so.
Well, I mean, it was 6 years ago when I was looking up to you guys, and dude, I don't want to make you to sound old, Eric and Owen, but you guys are OGs, bro. Like you guys are like, I would want to know if anyone ever tells you guys to go fuck off if you're messaging them. Please give me a good episode. I would fucking I would go a full hour, 20 minutes on just that one topic for sure. But again, I don't think anyone would ever fucking say that to you guys. Like,
unfortunately,
there's been a few.
I mean, you may have already done the episode, but we don't need to talk about that.
How could I forget? But let's think. Anyone who's logical, no matter what, they come to their senses, and they come crawling back. They're gonna be like, "Hey, man, I didn't mean that.
That was something.
Be my friend again, please." Like, come on.
That was something Nick said to us, like in the first couple seasons. Said something about how if somebody doesn't if somebody if there's somebody out there who doesn't just hate you irrationally for no reason, you clearly aren't doing anything right. Like, like, you know, if that happens, then you're on the right path. Keep going. It's like, okay, thank you.
And it's true, man. And the thing is, like, people hear it, but when it's happening to them, it's kind of hard to. It's tough.
Oh, it is.
It is.
Because you're almost like, why does this person hate me so much?
What the fuck did I do?
They're just self-reflecting, dude. Like they're just upset that they're not able to do what you're doing, and they can't figure it out. And so a lot, like, dude, I've never had anyone I legit respect in this game not like me. Like, and I'm talking about anyone I've actually looked up to who has made a living into this. Somebody who takes this shit serious does not have a problem with me. Somebody who isn't really doing much, someone who's pretty much lost into the woods, they can't pay their bills, they can't move out of their house that they have, whatever. They hate themselves. It's not you, but then people need punching bags. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've been there myself, bro. Like, there was a lot of times where I would go off of my podcast. I hated who I was. Like, I was more like taking it out on others versus just owning that, hey, you're the person that you're mad at. You know what I'm saying? It took me a long time to realize that, but that's why now I don't take it so personal. Like, sometimes, you know, I see some fake shit out there, and the one thing about me is, like, I can't stomach fake people, dude. And I'm getting used to it now, but still, like, you know, you've heard my Bob Smith story. Like, I've dealt with some crazy fucking fake phonies who really tried to come up with fucking fake names to take me out instead of just coming to me and tell me how they feel. Like, I don't understand that kind of living. I really don't. But again, to each their own, dude. It's like,
dude.
If you're having success, you're gonna piss somebody off, dude. That's what it comes down to. So,
amen. Well, I wish you nothing but the best success,
dude.
Going forward.
Same to you guys, man.
Had a blast, man, and I appreciate you coming on and hanging out with us for.
This is an honor, dude. And honestly, I can't wait to have you guys back on the show. Oh, and I owe you that episode. It's gonna happen, so don't worry. But listen, I just want to say you guys have always been a huge inspiration. Not only to me, dude, but to so many people out there. Because you got to understand, the more I heard your guys' names is the reason why I realized, dude, these guys are fucking making such an impact where, again, you guys never did this shit for the views. You didn't do these for anything but just having a fucking group of like-minded individuals just talk what we love, and that's reptiles. And so I will also mention, back to me trying to regroup myself, I just paid attention to what you guys were doing. And again, like, finding out who Justin Julander was and all these other people. I wouldn't be where I'm at, I feel like, if it wasn't for you guys. And I really, really mean that.
I appreciate that, dude. That's awesome. And
appreciate
again, like, nothing but the best of success. And sometimes I'm in awe of all the crap you run around doing. And it's like, I'm like, how does this man sleep? Like, it doesn't sleep. Like, it's So
well, you guys are awesome. Man.
Dude.
Hang out with you guys again, and we'll all make it happen for sure.
Definitely. We have to figure out one of those shows. But for those of the people who might not know where to find you or what to do, toss out the general thing, where to find it, where to check out the Trap Talk stuff. Yeah,
I mean, if you want to get a hold of me, I'm not hard to get a hold of. Unfortunately, I'm on Instagram a lot. So Trap Talk 619 on IG. Or if you just want to follow me on YouTube as well, the Trap Talk Reptile Network. Every day of the week, we have a brand new episode on the network.
Nice.
So, you know, you can shoot me an email at traptalkreptilenetwork@gmail.com, or just send me a message on IG, dude. Like, I'm not that hard to approach that people think it is. I'm not that bad of a guy, dude. Just come hit me up.
He's not.
No.
Man, anybody ever want to hit me up, just hit me up, dude.
Yeah, and you can check you out later on in the year for some chondro babies. So yeah,
dude, Eric, I want to sell you a chondro someday. So you let me know, dude. All right.
You go. You're hooked up so much now. Hey, you're rolling, dude.
Yeah. Oh man, cool. All right, all the links of all that stuff that you said will be in the show notes, and cool. Okay, I guess
close it out.
We'll just do it. All right, close it out, Owen.
All right, so that's it. Go check out the Patreons. Go check out all the other links that we have for the shows and all the different episodes of all the different shows on the MPR network. And thanks everybody for listening, and we'll catch everybody back here next time for some more Morelia Python Radio. Good night.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mood.